particular one. So
Is there a listener who would disagree with me?
Yeah,
I'm thinking not.
There you go.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
Did you just flip me off?
No.
Yes, you did. You just flipped me the bird. Now, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't shape up, okay, and get your head straight, there, you just flipped me off again.
107.5 The Game.
And we're into a Tuesday morning. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game. Welcome in. Hope you are getting up, getting moving early this morning, ready to go for another beautiful day. I think the temperatures start to rise a little bit. Is that right, Jen? Jen will give us a weather report here.
Yeah, we're like mid to upper 90s by Thursday.
Yeah, I was going to say it starts to pick up here a little bit. And as we head into the weekend, I think the weekend is supposed to be nice, but we'll get you up and get you going this morning, talk a little sports with you, some Monday night football last night, a blowout in Buffalo. I like the Bills to win the Super Bowl in through 2 weeks. They have done nothing to change my opinion. Philadelphia wins last night, 24-7 as well. So what I was hoping would be a decent night of Monday Night Football turned into two absolute routs. Jalen Hurts pretty good last night in his performance. Josh Allen, very good for the Bills. And overall, it was, I don't know if I'd say a dud of a night just because of the fact that we had football on. But in terms of close games, 41-7 there in Buffalo, 24-7 in Philadelphia. Josh Allen throws for 317. Jalen Hurts throwing for 333 last night. Yeah, that's what kind of night it was there in the NFL. But we'll talk some college football, talk a little NFL as well. Some big news there for the 49ers is their quarterback is now out for a extended period of time. And we'll discuss that a little bit. We'll get into some college football. We didn't, obviously, for obvious reasons, didn't get into a whole lot of the college football world. We got into the South Carolina world yesterday, and certainly everything that took place on Saturday afternoon at Williams-Brice Stadium. And we'll continue to do that again as J.C. Shurburtt will join us this morning at 7 o'clock, as he does now on a weekly basis. We'll catch up with him, get his thoughts and his take on everything. And then Heath Klein is expected to hop in, do a little cross promotion. He'll join us. Should be a good time. Catch up with him about 8 o'clock this morning, and he and I will banter back and forth as it pertains to South Carolina and not only what we saw, but what we think moving forward. And if you want to be a part of the program, pretty simple to do. 803-404-6100. How you can weigh in this morning, be a part of the program, offer your thoughts and opinions. No, probably there's plenty of you who still have thoughts and opinions from this past weekend and everything that you saw, and don't hesitate to go ahead and want to weigh in on that. We don't mind that at all. We'll certainly try and get to you this morning. So again, 803-404-6100 is how you can join us on the Love Chevy phone lines, or you can text in and be a part of the program that way. As always, you can go to our live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 107.5 The Game, click join, subscribe, be a part of the program there, and you can weigh in. So yeah, kind of light day yesterday, not too bad. Some baseball information, again, Braves win last night 5-2 over Washington. The Mets won as well, so kind of no ground gained there in the chase for the Eastern Division. Was it East Division Championship? How am I trying to phrase that very quickly there? But you get the point. The Eastern Division there is as they are chasing down the Mets, and currently still a game back in that division. The Yankees holding on tight in the American League East. As I sit here, and again, the Mets 94 and 55, Braves 92 and 55. Braves a game back there is again that chases. So that was kind of your information. I mentioned the NFL news. Other news from yesterday: South Carolina announced that, or the SEC, I should say, announced for South Carolina that they will play a noon game against South Carolina State in 2 weeks. So you'll get another nooner if that's what you love. I can tell you a lot of the media boys, media girls, they love that because Jen, you go to the games now as media. the noon games, have you become more a fan? I'm a fan of the noon games. Get the tailgating in early, get home, be able to, maybe relax, grill out, not get home around 11:30 or midnight as we will this week. You're a media girl. You're getting into the nooners, much like the media, the fans probably dislike.
The one part about it, I think traffic is a little worse because everybody's kind of focused on getting in, where if it's a later start, people are kind of falling in at different times, so I don't think the noon games help traffic,
Ah.
at least like with the Georgia game. Um, but it is kind of nice to be done and still have your afternoon and evening. So I don't think it's terrible. There's something still fun though about a night game, so I like those too.
Yeah,
Uh,
there you go. So yeah, it'll be a night game this week against Charlotte. We'll give away a pair of tickets again this morning, coming up in the 8 o'clock hour to the South Carolina Charlotte game. I do that in the 7 o'clock. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. It's kind of unfair to the 7 o'clock people if we give it away in the 8 o'clock hour. Now that I say that out loud, maybe we should be fair because there's some people got to go to work, got to actually do
yeah,
work,
exactly.
got to be at
And we
work.
did it after 8 o'clock yesterday, so
Yeah,
change it up.
So I tell you what, yeah, we'll do it about 7:30 this morning. Yeah, we'll give the people who actually have to go to work and can't just listen all morning long an opportunity at 7:30. We'll give you a pair of tickets there at 7:30. So we've got that going again. JC Shurburtt set to join us. Heath Klein should be popping in, and we'll talk some South Carolina football because Shane Beamer will meet with the media. You can hear that right here at 1:30 today, live on the 107.5 The Game app. You can hear it on our radio station. You can do a whole bunch of ways that you can tune in and catch Shane Beamer. And, one thing that we'll be listening for today is the injury situation. See exactly what is going on there. But I think everybody is more intrigued by, okay, what is your plan? You're the head coach. What is your plan to fix this offense? It's easy. Marcus Satterfield will talk with the media tomorrow. Tomorrow, Marcus and Clayton White will meet with the media as they do. The coordinators do on Wednesday. But I think all eyes are on Shane Beamer. What are you going to do? What is going to be your suggestion? How are you going to go about handling this and making the decisions for the betterment of the program? And he's got to address that today. And I don't put as much blame or as much on Spencer Rattler because I don't know if he's being put in the best situation for success right now. And that's part of it. Spencer Rattler, the whole offense, Jaheim Bell, Juju McDowell, Marshawn Lloyd, they've got to be put in situations to succeed. And right now it's hard to say with the offensive system that we're seeing with the play calling that those guys are being given the best chance to succeed and to move forward and showcase their ability. And we'll talk about that this morning a little bit. 803-404-6100, where you see the South Carolina offense making the biggest strides over the next 2 weeks. What is it running back? Or I should say the running game? Do you want to see Spencer Rattler grow into the quarterback, develop into the quarterback? And again, it's a 2-game scenario here with Charlotte and South Carolina State before you jump into the final 6 games of the SEC slate, and then obviously the Clemson game to wrap up the season. But what do you want to see there from the Gamecocks as they move forward with this offense? And the easy answer is competent play calling, right? That's the easy answer. I just want to see competent play calling and what they're doing there. But I mean, if you've got to pick one specific area, what exactly do you want to go with there? 803-404-6100. We'll get started with that this morning. Again, we'll get into some college football. We didn't talk a ton across the board yesterday. Instantly, let's see here. Let me go back. Somebody was mentioning the Appalachian State, the Hail Mary there. Let me go back. Yeah, it was anonymous sector saying opinion. App State has had the 3 most insane and exciting games this season. Yeah, certainly you can say that with NC State. I guess the A&M game was exciting. I don't know, 17-14 was a huge upset, was wild. But yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll get into the top 10 new AP poll out yesterday. We'll look at that, and we'll get into some other things as well. You're listening to Bill Gunner. You're listening to Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston,
and the guys from Gamecock Central.
If it's working, then the players are like, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Let's do it. But when it's not working, then, I mean, if I was Juice Wells, I'd I'll probably be flipping tables over on the sidelines. Because what happened? Where was I?
Yeah.
Why wasn't I a focal point of this particular
We
offense?
didn't get to the clip last week. Marcus Satterfield said he was saying this as a compliment to Juice for just succeeding within the framework of the offense. He said, you can look in our playbook. There's not one play drawn up for Juice Wells. It's like,
that's a little bit the opposite. I agree with your point. You need to make sure you're getting Wells the ball. But, like, I see what Wes is saying in terms of if getting your guys easy looks is not saying we don't think you can get open.
Get the point? The extra point.
Feeling good, getting out, maybe doing a little exercising this morning. I tell you what, it seems to me like when I come up Gervais Street in the morning to get here, there's more joggers out, people trying to stay in good shape, enjoy the weather early in the morning, get a little exercise in. But if you've been suffering from joint pain, if you've had issues with your knees, with your ankles, with your hips, anywhere in your joints, and you've been slowed down, it's time to make that phone call. Call QC Kinetics today, 803-281-6860. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and absolutely no surgery. That's right. With QC Kinetics, they're using highly concentrated healing properties from your own body to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. So again, if you've not been able to get out and throw the football around in the yard with the kids, shoot a little hoops, maybe run, just do some exercise, just walk with your significant other up and down the neighborhood, get out and enjoy the weather. It's time to call QC Kinetics today. And guess what? You can get a free consultation. So don't wait any longer. Today is the day. Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. Again, that's 803-281-6860. Don't wait any longer. This is real, lasting relief from chronic pain, and you can take advantage of it today with just a simple phone call, a free consultation, and get started with the plan for QC Kinetics. 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
7-5 the game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Out towards Leesville, we do have a report of an accident, 178 at Cox Ferry Road, and also an injury accident reported Irvin Jumper Street at Mack Street. And your forecast for today, sunny and hot. That's kind of the forecast for the next few days. 93 for the high today, 94 tomorrow. Could see record heat on Thursday, 97 for the high. But we start off 67 right now, 107.5 the game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Last night, we saw the beasts of the AFC and NFC East, folks. Buffalo kicked off the overlap doubleheader by overwhelming Tennessee 41-7. Behind Stephon Diggs' 3 touchdown receptions. How about the Bills' defense? They limited the Titans to only 187 total yards. And down in Philly, the underappreciated and underrated Jalen Hurts ran for 2 scores and threw for another in a 24-7 thumping of the Minnesota Vikings. Boomer Esiason.
We have to record a QC this morning.
Rates are on the rise, but with
Alrighty. I got this cuts list too. Let's play 13. 13. Yeah, Spencer. Oh, I know what I was doing. All right.
Sponsored by eBay Motors. You might not have the biggest garage in the block, but with eBay Motors, there's 122 million parts right at your fingertips. You need something that fits your vehicle. Air filters, tires, seat covers, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. That's right. Hey, Gamecock fans, this is Danny Good with Total Like the Real. Since 1985, my wife Karen and I have been striving to get better than expected real estate service for our clients from the Midlands to South Carolina. So we remind you of one of us. Since then, we have been consistently recognized University executive results backed by experience in buying and selling real estate on the good team. 803-730-8512 or online at Sponsored by SC Works. SC Works is a member of the American Job Center Network. Program. Qualifications and services are available on request to individuals.
Okay. I text Heath. We're good. Well, let's see. I say we're good. We'll see if he responds. I believe he's probably awake.
Yeah, it's funny. I had said to him at the game the other day, I said, "So you're going to join us on the live stream?" He said, "Oh no, that no one wants that for anything." He said they don't need to see me during the show. They really don't need to see me at like 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So
yeah, he's terrified of the live stream.
Yes,
he is up and going. He says, "Sure."
because we were dangling that paycheck in front of him.
Yeah.
A little bonus. All right, 13.
On the first one, we hit a big shot down the field. Great play by Jaheim. And then we had a play action, roll out right, throw back to Juju up the seam. I tried to throw it back shoulder, and the DB, made a good play on Juju, kind of swiped by him and made a play on the ball. He made a good play. I could have probably gave that another second to develop. And then the second one, we're down by I don't know how much it is, and I'm just throwing it up to Jaheim, and, we had a chance to make that play, and they made a good play on it. So, yeah, we needed some shots at that time. We couldn't just run the ball and check it down all game. We had to take some shots.
That's Spencer Rattler talking about the 2 interceptions he threw on Saturday. The first one still, I think I think Spencer Rattler's got a chance to be a good quarterback. I think he's got some improving to do. I don't think that he is. I really don't think he is ready for the NFL. Now that this is through 3 games, plenty can change over the next 9, and certainly there are scouts who are going to be enamored with his arm strength, but his decision making has got to improve. And listening to him still explain that first interception, I baffled is the best way I can describe it, and be I think nice about it. It made no sense. Juju was completely covered. Georgia was on top of that play, and that's just a situation where, quite frankly, you got to throw it out of bounds or scramble further right and take a chance running for your life. I don't know. What I know you don't do is throw it over there, because not only was Juju well covered, there was a second defender in the area. That one had little to zero chance at all of having anything good happen, and obviously we saw the worst of the situation. I guess it could have been worse. Georgia could have run it all the way back for a touchdown. But Spencer Rattler, I think over the next 2 games, it's not the same competition, but how he performs and how he builds confidence, I think will give us insight into the remainder of the season. He comes out and he struggles and can't move the football against these 2 particular opponents. I don't know if a quarterback controversy is well, I can tell you, South Carolina does not need a quarterback controversy. That would be the absolute worst thing that could happen. One of the worst things that could happen for this program right now is if Shane Beamer's having to go in there and answer questions, be it Luke Doty or Spencer Rattler. And so you really need Rattler to step forward right now and to kind of tighten things up. I guess he had told the ESPN crew that was announcing the game that he needed to tighten things up. His decision-making needed to be a little bit better. as he was moving forward here, and you didn't really see that on Saturday. The second interception, I understand what he's saying. I get exactly what he's saying. He's throwing the ball up. You're trying to make a play. You're hoping Jaheim Bell can go up and make a play. And yeah, the safety for Georgia made a really nice play, went out and got the football. That's what you want your safeties to do. And that was a situation, that was a time and a place in the game where I'm okay with that. I understand what he's saying. I agree with that. But you look at Spencer Rattler right now, so far this season, and the first couple things that stand out, South Carolina relying way too much on the pass. 101 attempts right now through 3 games. South Carolina obviously has been down to Arkansas and was down huge to Georgia and needed to throw the football to get back in the game. But just a 59.4% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions so far on the season, according to ESPN. These are the kind of stats that you just simply cannot have if you want to go to a bowl or you want to have the big season that everybody was talking about. And that's going to be something that Spencer Rattler, with his decision-making, has got to improve upon. And he's got to figure out and where to go with the football. He's got to see the field a little bit better. He's going to have to make some better decisions. I think seeing the field also, I don't know how much that's on him and how much that's on the play calls that's been out there. But you go back, obviously he had developed a chemistry during the offseason with Antoine Wells, who didn't have a reception last game, but 15 catches on the year for 244 yards. Jalen Brooks has been really good, I think, at the wide receiver position, 11 catches so far for 170 yards. So you've got some guys there. Josh Vann is the one that I think we all wonder what's happened to. Just 2 catches, 8 yards on the season. That was a guy, obviously, we thought would have a bigger role in the offense, but certainly has not really been able to do much of anything and make it happen. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the phone lines. David wants to weigh in and has waited patiently this morning. David, how you doing? What's on your mind?
I'm doing fine. I agree with you that he's not ready for NFL. I kind of gave him a pass for Georgia State game. That's the first time that in actual live game speed that he was working with his new teammates. Some of the problem, I don't think he was ready for SEC defenses. But the question I had for you this morning, Bill, is if we go into Lexington and completely lay an egg, do you pull the trigger with the bye week? Because it's not like you've got to go search for a play caller. You've got Freddie Kitchens that's there as an analyst now. I'll take the question off the air. Appreciate what you do.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Appreciate the phone call, David. I know that Freddie Kitchens is a popular name, but Freddie Kitchens is very involved in everything that's going on now. You know, I think that's now maybe he's not the one making the final decision, and maybe that's where the big problem is the final decision. Maybe the prep and the coaching is fine. I don't know if I would think that, but Freddie Kitchens is down there on the sideline. I haven't seen him standing directly next to Marcus Satterfield when calls are being made. So again, you know, is the issue right now the simple final decision when the play is being decided upon? I don't want to say that I just necessarily look at Freddie Kitchens and go, oh yeah, that's definitely the no-brainer pick if South Carolina has to make a move mid-season, if Shane Beamer has to make a move. My gut also just I just don't see Shane Beamer making a mid-season decision. And I think it would have to be really bad. I think it would have to be really, really bad. And really bad could be, you know, if South Carolina goes out and can't move the football this week or next week, then yes, you're right. I don't know if Kentucky is the game that necessarily Shane Beamer makes the move after. I would think it'd be if you just go out this weekend and you win, but you do it like, you know, 14-13 or, you know, something worse happens. Let's just say something worse happens. And we all know what that could be where you don't win. But with all that, I think at the end of the day, I'm not completely sold on the fact that Freddie Kitchens is just the end all be all answer. So we'll have to continue to monitor it. Again, I've seen him down there on the sideline on Saturday in rewatching the game. You can see him kind of around talking with both Spencer Rattler and the offense. I've seen him talking more so with the offensive line, it feels like, but that just might be when I rewatch the games. Those are the shots that I catch. 803-404-6100. Stay on the Love Chevy phone lines. And, well, Gamecock Larry's always got an opinion, and he's up next. Gamecock Larry, what are you thinking about this morning?
I tell you what, I think about that offensive coordinator. I don't think he can think. He's like me. He can't think fast enough to change the plays. He can't. I don't know. But how many years has Smart got at Georgia?
How many years does Smart have at Georgia?
Yes, sir.
I'm guessing as many as he wants.
I mean, how many has he been there?
Oh, he was hired the same year that Will Muschamp was hired at South Carolina. So what's that? What Muschamp was, 5? So 6. So this is year 7.
Okay. He inherited a team that was averaging 10 to win a season in the last 8 or 10 seasons. Okay, Beamer has been here. This is his second year. So we are actually about 5 recruiting classes behind him because that Kirby Smart didn't have to rebuild. He just kept reloading. And remember, 3 or 4 of those coaches on the Georgia staff now was the head coach at South Carolina and all other kind of coaches that wasn't worth nothing. That's including Musquat and all the rest of them. But and another thing, do you think it might be this injuries? Now I can't remember having these kind of injuries. Do you think it might have anything to do with the strength and conditioning? And let me see. That's all about I got to say. But I will say, once a Gamecock, always a Gamecock. 88 years and still a kicking and a crowing. Go Gamecocks, our time is coming. Love all y'all. Have a good day.
Thank you for that phone call. Good to hear you are feeling nice and chipper this morning. Strength and conditioning program, I don't blame the injuries on that. I think I wonder more about just the actual strength part of it. I haven't seen South Carolina line up and be physically dominant or really able to match what Arkansas and what Georgia wanted to do along the lines of scrimmage. And we didn't see South Carolina push around on the offensive line or the defensive line, Georgia State. That would be my question for the strength and conditioning program. Obviously, in terms of the injuries, Jordan Strachan and, I throw R.J. Roderick in there as well. His injury was on a tackle where it was his arm, and that has nothing to do with strength and conditioning. I think that was kind of a freak thing. But, you look at you look at Strachan and Kaba, torn ACLs. That's not on strength and conditioning. Alex Boogie Huntley, if you go back, I think it was the Arkansas game, he got his knee twisted up. I don't see where the injuries have been a strength and conditioning problem. And you don't have many of them. I think it was Darius Rush who went down with a hamstring injury, but that was, was what it was. You don't see the tissue injuries, the ligament, the hamstring, or I should say the hamstring injuries like you saw occasionally under Jeff Dillman. So I don't blame the strength and conditioning program for the injuries. I think those are just happening. 803-404-6100. We'll get to some of the text messages that we've got out there. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The year was 2007, and on November 12th, 107.5 The Game went on the air. And since then, we have celebrated with you an SEC East title on the gridiron.
The exclamation point in the swamp. Carolina is going to Atlanta.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
Push. Touchdown, Carolina. Oh, I want this animal. Yes. Are you kidding me?
Happy anniversary to us on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game, and the new 107.5 The Game app.
So, we're already mid-September. Fall sports, those are in full swing. And if you or somebody in your family's been hurt, maybe has a lingering orthopedic problem, hey, man, look no further than Prisma Health Orthopedics. Yeah, they're the official team physicians for the Gamecocks and for the Clemson Tigers. But I guarantee you, Prisma Health Orthopedics, they're going to give you and your family the same care they provide to those top athletes. They're the most comprehensive orthopedic group in the region. They have 65 specialists and they have 6 locations. So that certainly gives you opportunities to serve you better. They're the region's most trusted orthopedic practice with a deep rooted history that spans nearly a century. They're leaders in innovative procedures and something I think is really important. They're leaders in teaching the next generation of orthopedic physicians. Sports injuries, strains, sprains, fractures, as well as chronic joint pain, those can happen at, kind of inconvenient times. But did you know that Prisma Health Orthopedics offers a full service walk in orthopedic urgent care for those issues as well as addressing chronic joint pain? Trust me, for my family, that's huge. Prisma Health Orthopedics, plain and simple, they built a foundation for patient centered care and innovation that results in the best possible services and outcomes for their patients. Learn more by visiting prismahealth.org/orthopedics.
1075 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
Still working that earlier accident out towards Leesville, and that's Highway 178 at Cox Ferry Road. And in the Gaston area, Irvin Jumper Street at Mack Street. Warm temperatures on tap for us. Sunny and hot today, 93 for your high, 94 tomorrow. Potentially record heat on Thursday, 97 for the high, but we start off kind of nice. 67 right now at 107.5 The Game.
During the Stone Age, early man inhabited caves. Because building a 3-story, 5-bedroom McMansion would have kept him from watching football, hunting, and beer with the boys.
All right. Yeah, I agree with that, RL. Definitely. Oh my goodness. Oh man, overslept. Oh, text my tweet. Let's see here.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say it's not hard, but yeah, you just kind of. So that's why you got all those podcasts and people doing it, and then you just hope you apply for jobs. I think like a lot of people did. I didn't do journalism or mass communication, I guess, in college. It's fun. It's an early morning. Like I slept too much. I was in bed by like 8:45 last night. I got too much sleep. Oh, tweet out.
Songs you love on local radio with no subscriptions and no monthly fees. But there's a new bill in Congress that could stop the music. If passed, this bill would tax your local radio station simply to play the music you love. Text local to 52886 and ask Congress to support local radio stations. Help us keep you connected to the music, local news, weather, and traffic that you need each day. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
On 1075 The Game.
All right, do that. This thing.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in, be a part of the program this morning, talking some South Carolina football, but college football as a whole. Pretty entertaining weekend. Obviously what happened here in Columbia was ugly. There's no doubt about that. But it was ugly in several other places as well. Didn't mention this yesterday, but obviously the firing of Herm Edwards. So now you've got Nebraska and Arizona State having made moves on their head coach. And if you didn't see this, you might not have. It was a late night game. You might have had enough of college football by the time this happened. Arizona State lost over the weekend to Eastern Michigan. Not Michigan, Eastern Michigan, 30-21. And Eastern Michigan had their backup quarterback playing. But Herm Edwards, who's been under a lot of scrutiny out there of late because of some NCAA infractions. The NCAA is actually just doing an investigation at this time. They've not actually sent anything to Arizona State, but the NCAA investigation has led to 5 full-time coaches leaving the Sun Devils staff. Both coordinators were gone. The roster, obviously, the big one was Jaden Daniels, who transferred out and has gone to LSU. Arizona State has turned into a bit of a dumpster fire. Recruiting there has been absolutely brutal. And finally, on Sunday, the Sun Devils made their move to fire Herm Edwards. So you had him out again after a 30-21 loss to Eastern Michigan. He finishes his career there at Arizona State being 26-20 with 1 bowl win in 5 years. So that was really ugly. Obviously, what took place down in Auburn was really bad. I know we've talked again a lot about what happened here, and people have talked about the lack of offense, to say the least, for South Carolina, but it's been just as bad down on the plains for Auburn and what's happening there with Brian Harsin. And you almost feel now it's just a matter of time until Auburn shows Brian Harsin the door and moves on from him. And this past weekend, they were kind of hanging around, trying to keep it together. There was 14-6 at halftime, and in the second half, Penn State just turned it on and absolutely shredded the Tigers. 41-12 ends up being the final. TJ Finley threw for just 152 yards. There was a pretty good, if you haven't seen it, SEC Shorts, the little Twitter account or Facebook account, whatever it is, YouTube account, I guess, that did a video yesterday on the situation. Did you see that one, Jen?
That was really well done.
Yeah, they basically blaming Penn State for the murder of Auburn football there, and back and forth between those couple guys are always very entertaining. And yesterday, but it again, I know we've talked a lot about what happened here, and rightfully so, but what's happening down in Auburn right now is they sit 2-1 on the season. It's ugly, and it may get a lot uglier. They get Missouri this weekend at noon, and then that'll be followed by LSU at Georgia, at Mississippi, Arkansas, at Mississippi State. We'll see if Texas A&M continues to be a solid team there after their win over Miami, and then, of course, Western Kentucky, and they finish up the season at Alabama. But you go back to what I just said, it's likely Auburn could win this weekend against Missouri. But then after that, that's 4 straight losses, it looks like. And so, man, it is going to be a mess down there. So you've got Auburn, who's obviously got issues. Nebraska's got issues of their own. They kind of fought early on there in their game against Oklahoma, and then Brent Venables' team just turns on the Jets just like Penn State did and blows Nebraska completely out of the water. That leads Nebraska to firing their defensive coordinator on Sunday. You've got that going on there for Nebraska. And I saw this on borrowing it off of Twitter, and I forget who put it out there, but I'm kind of interested in your opinion in college football here. If you were, I don't want to say an up and coming head coach, but if you had your option between going to Nebraska or Arizona State, I'm assuming people would take the Nebraska job. More stability. You know what conference you're going to be in. That's a good thing. More tradition. But I do ask you, 803-404-6100, which job would you consider to be the better one, Nebraska or Arizona State, after Herm Edwards fired on Sunday? And again, we didn't get into that a whole lot, but the Cornhuskers now, that's a program that Jamie Bradford and I were talking about yesterday, just the relevance. I grew up in the 90s watching Nebraska just be dominant. Tommy Frazier and Brooks Bollinger and Scott Frost and Lawrence Phillips and the bevy of running backs they would have. And now you're talking about a program right now that's sitting at 1-3 on the season. They've got a bye week to kind of settle things down after the 49-14 beating there at the hands of Oklahoma. They've lost to Northwestern, Georgia Southern, and Oklahoma. That one win is over North Dakota. It's interesting. RB weighs in on our live stream and says Arizona State in a heartbeat, 100%. I'm interested to hear if other people kind of agree with him on that. I would think it would be Nebraska. I think people would take the Nebraska job. Jen, you got an opinion on that?
I don't. How's that for assistance?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't even look at the program. I'm like, where's the weather better? You know, so
Arizona State.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
You know,
there's
I'd go for that. But as far as programs go, I don't know. I'd have to look deeper into each of the programs to see what I'm walking into.
Yeah, Garrett on our live stream says Arizona State by far you have a better chance to win the Pac-12 than the Big Ten. Who knows if Arizona State's going to be still in the Pac-12? Who knows if there's going to be a Pac-12? I think that's part of when I said stability. That's the one thing, at least with Nebraska, you know that you're comfortable in the Big Ten. You know that there's going to be money there. Arizona State, we assume that they'll be a part of college football realignment and find their way to another conference, maybe the Big 12 or maybe the Pac-12 is able to stay together. But just a thought there. So, yeah, some wild things kind of across college football as a whole last week. Obviously, the stuff happening again in Auburn, in Lincoln. Obviously, what happened in Texas A&M where they bounced back and beat Miami. So, pretty interesting weekend across college football. Someone mentioned earlier that Appalachian State Hail Mary that saved them after they have game day and everybody's all hyped up there in Boone, and Troy almost pulled the upset there. So a fun weekend of college football. I'll give you the rundown on the schedule coming up for this weekend. We'll talk a little more South Carolina football. JC Shurburtt set to join us at 7 a.m. this morning. Heath Klein will pop in for a little bit of Imagine Dragons discussion and some college football discussion at 8 a.m. Tomorrow morning, excited to let you know we've got a special guest coming up at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Cedric Maxwell, former Boston Celtic. He's now the color commentator for the Boston Celtics. Actually played at Charlotte in his collegiate career, and that's not really why we're having him on, is because he's from Charlotte and South Carolina's playing Charlotte. But he's written a book. It's called If These Walls Could Talk. You actually have a book signing out in Lexington. We'll tell you a little bit more about that. He'll have a book signing tomorrow at LJ's Par and Grill from 2:30 to 7 o'clock, but you can go and meet him. He's got some great stories from his time with the Boston Celtics and being up there playing with Larry Bird. He'll be in studio with us tomorrow morning from 8 to 9, and we'll get some not really talk NBA as it pertains to today's NBA, but we'll talk about the Boston Celtics and his time there and some stories from his playing days of the NBA. Should be really interesting. Look forward to that. So a lot we're doing this week. Again, JC Shurburtt and Heath Klein this morning, as well as you. If you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. I'm actually surprised by this. Garrett said Arizona State, and now Ryan on our text line says Arizona State, lower expectations. Nebraska still thinks they are the program of the 90s. Build your own thing at Arizona State. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Interested to hear some of y'all's opinions on if you would choose Arizona State or Nebraska. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The year was 2007, and on November 12, 107.5 The Game went on the air. And since then, we have celebrated with you
a trip to the Final Four with the men.
The South Carolina Gamecocks, for the first time in program history, are headed to the Sweet 16.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
Game over. Gamecocks are in the Final Four.
happy anniversary to us on your home of the Gamecocks.
It's all these guys. They've been with us for a while. They believe in each other. They put up with me and go out and do it better the next day. They got the courage of a lion.
107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
I-20 westbound after Monticello Road. Report of an accident there. Also, Long Green Parkway at Clemson Road. And Highway 178 at Coxbury Road. Still working that earlier accident. 93 for the high today, 94 tomorrow, up to 97 on Thursday. Right now, 67, 107.5 the game.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. The Mega Millions jackpot for Tuesday is $277 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today.
Washington is back in. Oh, that's what I was getting to, and then we had to hit a break. Was the AP Top 25. I looked down and knew that we needed to get to a break. It's interesting. Let's see. I think a couple more people just hit us up.
Travis Benson, the owner of CNT Foundations. Travis is seeking a foundation to give a homeowner a seeking fee like how can you help? At CNT Foundations, we are your foundation experts, not expert salespeople.
Oh, I gotta let me see. Let me see.
Call 805-8044. CNT Foundations, your foundation experts. Summer is over, but that's what it's time to do something. Hey, it's still fun. I'll want you to talk to you and let it now. Don't long enough. It's time to get real. Last release of chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulder, and hip. Cut it. Visit treatment with no downtime, no highly concentrated from your own body to restore and damaged joints. The nation leader decided way through natural approach to eliminating pain. Lots of people have done this, and they are living life absolute fullest pain-free. Don't assume the only way to deal with joint pain is the only way. Stop giving on calling out for a free consultation. 801-680. That's 80281.
For Arizona State, I can see that.
Visit Herm Chevrolet today. Yes, you feel the effects of the summertime heat. Your house feels it too. Lack of rain, high humidity, and random storms wreak havoc on your home's foundation, causing wall cracks, skidding windows and doors, mold, and rusty smell. Mount Valley Foundation Services knows this and is ready to help. They'll protect and repair your home's permanent foundation-based and cost-based solutions. Schedule your free, no-obligation appointment today. Visit FixMyFoundation.com. That's FixMyFoundation.com. Mount Valley Foundation. This update is sponsored by AAA Heating and Air, home of the $1,500 buyback. AAA Heating and Air must clear out your warehouse before you go with efficiency regulations. Don't go effective 2023. No deals will be turned down. Call today.
Sorry, I focused too much on trying to get a tweet out, which apparently was more difficult than I realized.
Shop online today and see why Herm Chevrolet makes you smile. Here. Your home of the Gamecocks. Early game.
The game.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh in. We'll get to some of these text messages coming up in the next hour as J.C. Shurburtt will join us. Heath Klein will join us at 8 o'clock. I see a lot of you weighing in. 3 of the text messages. Let's see. There's 6 text messages in front of me. Steve, Matt, Anonymous, Ryan, Richard, and another Anonymous. 3 of them tell me the question is just about Marcus Satterfield or mentions Marcus Satterfield. So I see y'all weighing in on the Marcus Satterfield debate. And that's something, again, we'll discuss plenty with J.C. Shurburtt. We'll talk with Heath Klein about that. I know he's talked a little bit about it on his program, but we'll kind of go back and forth with him this morning. And so I see you weighing in on that, and we'll certainly do a little bit of that coming up in the next hour, definitely, to get you J.C.'s thoughts on that. The AP Top 25, this week's edition of the AP Top 25 put out yesterday. Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, and Michigan still 1, 2, 3, 4. No movement actually at all in the top 7. Michigan at 4, Clemson 5, Oklahoma 6, Southern Cal 7. Kentucky in the AP Top 25 moves up to number 8. They do have a game against number 16 Mississippi coming up in 2 weeks on October the 1st. That should be a really fun, entertaining game. And obviously, if Kentucky wins that, they could slide even further up, maybe into the top 6, top 7. And I say that because at that point, South Carolina's first 3 SEC opponents will have all been top 10. I think Arkansas was outside. Arkansas was outside of the top 10, obviously, but they've moved into the top 10 now as they sit at number 10. Oklahoma State's fallen to number 9. Tennessee is at 11. North Carolina State at 12. Utah sits at 13. Penn State, after that thumping of Auburn, moved up 8 spots. The biggest mover of the weekend was Oregon. They jumped 10 spots from number 25 up to number 15. I think you might start hearing a lot of Oregon love. A lot of people might start looking around and saying, hey, you know what? That loss to Georgia, that's what Georgia's going to do to everybody. They beat you 49-3, but don't worry about it. The way you came back and thumped BYU will give you a lot of credit. Oregon jumping 10 spots in the AP Top 25 up to number 15. Mississippi, as I just mentioned, after walloping Georgia Tech 42-0, moves up to number 16. Baylor holds firm at 17. Washington jumps into the top 25. They are now at number 18. And then you had some teams that fell. Miami, after their loss, fell 12 spots. They stayed in the top 25, but at number 25. Pittsburgh fell to 24. Texas A&M moved up a spot to 23. Texas to 22. Wake Forest is at 21, and the Florida Gators are at number 20. BYU fell 7 spots after their loss to Oregon to 19. So the AP Top 25 out, and that's kind of a breakdown of where everything's at right now. Again, you look at it, even Clemson. Yeah, you look at what Clemson's going to have. Number 12, NC State. They'll have number 21, Wake Forest, this coming weekend. That'll be a noon kickoff up in Winston-Salem. Clemson will get their first, what I would say, true test of the season this weekend is Sam Hartman and the Demon Deacons up there in Winston-Salem. We'll see if Clemson's able to handle that. So it should be another fun weekend of college football. The schedule for the weekend gets going on Thursday night. I've mentioned this, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, especially starting tomorrow as we flip the calendar away from this week. But the schedule should be a lot of fun. Coastal Carolina and Georgia State on Thursday night. Probably be a little bit more fun if Georgia State had not lost to Charlotte, but West Virginia and Virginia Tech as well. So your Thursday night games should get rolling as you get a 2-night break from football, no NFL, no college, and then we'll bounce back ready to go on Thursday night. I'll get you more of a rundown of that weekend slate coming up here later on in the program, and obviously we'll talk a lot about it as we move through the week. But coming up next, J.C. Shurburtt will join us as he does each and every Tuesday, and what we'll end up doing is talking a lot about what some of you guys and girls are text messaging in on. Yeah, Marcus Satterfield in the offense. Where is this thing going? What can be done to improve it? We'll get JC's thoughts, and then we'll catch up with Heath Klein coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. If you want to send a text message in, we'll get to that, 803-404-6100. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Gamecocks, Braves, the NFL with live local radio. 107.5 The Game, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, a Cumulus media station.
South Carolina fans, this is DeCarrion Jordan. The Garnet trusts to connecting fans like you with athletes like myself through NIL deals. Head on over to garnettrust.com to find out how you can support me and my teammates for as little as $10.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson. The Settlement Specialist, LLC, is responsible for the content of this ad. Attention. This is an important message for anyone that spent time at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. If you or a family member lived, worked, or served at Camp Lejeune at any time between August 1st, 1953 and December 31st, 1987 and developed a serious health condition, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation. Call 800-215-9771 now to see if you qualify. That's right. Studies have found the water at Camp Lejeune was contaminated with toxic chemicals for decades, causing serious health conditions such as bladder, breast, or kidney cancer, Parkinson's, leukemia, and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Congress has approved and President Biden has signed a new law allowing anyone that spent time at the base affected by injury to seek the justice they deserve. Billions of dollars have been set aside by the government to compensate victims. If you or a family member lived, worked, or served at Camp Lejeune during this time and developed a serious health condition, you may be entitled to significant cash compensation even if you were denied a disability claim in the past. Call 800-215-9771 now to see if you qualify. Hurry, time is limited. Call 800-215-9771. That's 800-215-9771. 800-215-9771.
MVP's bonus days are back at Lowe's. Right now, get a special BOGO offer from Bosch. Buy a select Bosch 18-volt bare tool. Get a battery free. Shop savings on all of our top pro items. Plus, MVPs earn up to 3 times bonus points on select products. Join today and redeem points for products designed to level up your business. Don't miss MVP's bonus days, happening now at Lowe's. Pricing and offers subject to change at any time. Bonus points calculated before taxes and fees after applicable discounts, if any. Valid through 9/23.
Progressive Snapshot can save you money based on how you drive and how much you drive. So the safer you drive, the more money you could save. Now, if you didn't hear that because you were yelling at another car while driving, let me say it again. You need to calm down. Yelling is just making everyone as stressed out as you are and letting them all know that you definitely aren't trying to save with Progressive Snapshot. And if you did hear it the first time because you weren't yelling at another car, nice work. You'd love Snapshot from Progressive because it rewards safe drivers. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in California and North Carolina or from all agents.
Hey, look who's here. It's DK Joyner. Hey, man, welcome to the studio. So, DK, you dropped by here to tell us about Midas Auto Service and Tires in the Midlands, didn't you?
That's right, Terry. I've been to Midas numerous times in the last several years. They're the pro in total car care, maintenance, brakes, tires, oil, and everything.
Hey everyone, this is Gus Herlong. Our family for almost 15 years has made Midas Auto Service and Tires #1 in the Midlands. Our team takes care of you, period. We have 26 locations across South Carolina and North Florida. Come see us today at one of our 8 locations in the Midlands.
It's a fact. Midas is the best in the Midlands in auto service, or the expert team at the Herlong's 8 locations. Every time I take my car to Midas, the service is just unbeatable, guys. Midas does it right the first time and every time.
Appreciate it, DK. And for all you football fans out there, do like DK. Go to Midas.com, schedule an appointment, see additional savings we have, and utilize one of our Midas courtesy vehicles for your convenience during your visit.
Take it from DK Joyner. Midas in the Midlands has the winning service on your car or truck.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
I think I've got you set up over there, Coach. You might have some headphones. You might not. Not real sure. Apologize. Got to
Make him do his own work. Is that what you're saying?
I am trying to fight this iPad so we can put him on the live stream as well. But
and Jen Jensen.
So basically, well-oiled machine. You're right on top of things. You have everything prepared.
this iPad has dominated me this morning. Like, it has been a beating at the hands of this iPad. We'll see if I got it fixed there.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
Today's phrase of the day is, I have no clue.
107.5.
If you say, I have no clue, this means I don't know. In fact, I don't even have any idea.
The Game.
Tuesday morning edition of the early game. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, soon to be joined by JC Shurburtt, as he does each and every Tuesday. And a couple of you weighing in. Kelly on our live stream saying, question, do you ride with Spencer Rattler all season, no matter what? Or do you look at making a change if this kind of performance continues? We'll talk with JC about that. Obviously, a lot going on with the offense and certainly injuries on the defense. Defense does need to play better, needs to tackle better, but a lot of injuries there. So we'll catch up with JC Shurburtt here in just a second. A little bit of the developing story real quick, and I only bring this up because South Carolina men's basketball is slated to play Eastern Michigan. But I just saw this scroll across the ticker on the ESPN2 television that I've got up here that Imani Bates, the one-time five-star high school prospect that initially committed to Michigan State, then ended up playing at Memphis last year and has since transferred to Eastern Michigan, who South Carolina and number one recruit Gigi Jackson are slated to host in late December. Imani Bates arrested last night during a routine traffic stop for possession of a firearm in a car that he was driving. His attorney has said that it was a borrowed vehicle, and he but has been charges now of carrying a weapon. We'll see how this kind of plays out. That was a reason that Eastern Michigan game would be kind of interesting to watch, is you'd have Imani Bates going against G.G. Jackson. And again, I think that's December. I can't remember if it's the 31st or the 30th, but that game here at Colonial Life Arena, and would be a kind of an interesting matchup between those two players. But I'm kind of seeing this pop up. It must have happened sometime yesterday evening, and I just flat missed it, to be honest, last night, or never noticed it. But yeah, he was arrested after a gun was found in the car he was driving. Again, his attorney has said it was a borrowed vehicle, and that the gun is the owner of the gun is the person who owned the vehicle. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on that. And again, it's only interesting just because Imani Bates is supposed to square off against G.G. Jackson here at Colonial Life Arena in December against South Carolina. So if you want to weigh in this morning, 803-404-6100, you can send a text message in. Joining us now, as he does each and every week, my good buddy. They're all my good buddies, I reckon. I think that's why they
Isn't
come.
that funny?
Yeah, I think that's why they come on. I guess
Everybody's
I don't
a good
know. It's
buddy
either
to
that or they all feel really bad for me. One of the two. JC Shurburtt joining us now, as he does. And well, that was an interesting weekend of college football, JC. You had the App State game. Auburn looked really bad. Nebraska fires another guy. Herm Edwards may or may not have been fired on the field after his game. And, oh, yeah, at Williams-Brice Stadium, it got a little out of hand.
Yeah, that was disappointing. Just the way it happened and it went down. I think a lot of people thought, I don't know, maybe some people were still stuck in 2013, 2014, but a lot of people thought probably about 7-8 years ago the Gamecocks were beyond that. But I think when you play these days a team like Georgia, and you don't play your best, it's going to get out of hand. And that's the thing. I mean, it got out of hand. It's not that they lost the game. It's that they, it wasn't a competitive football game. You sort of look at it. I think there were 3 moments where they had a chance to establish some momentum on offense. And, this, that, or the other happened. First drive of the game, I don't know what the thought process was going to the Wildcat on 3rd and 6. I mean, they had completed a nice little pass to Stogner. It looked like Rattler was getting comfortable and getting rhythm, and all of a sudden, you're 3rd and 6 in a play that did not work at all last year. Anytime you ran it, that's fact, gets called. And the whole stadium knew he was going to keep it. And that's not on the carry-on at all. I mean, I thought the kid gave great effort to get 3 yards. Then Spencer Rattler throws an ill-advised pick down there again. And then I guess after the fake punt, that's when the 3rd and the draw play or the run up the middle on 3rd and 8 happened. And you get to 4th and 9. And one of those moments, there were some folks on the field. And I think everybody kind of got a good look. And it allowed the defense to settle in and all that. And they stopped them short on 4th down. A little bit better pass from Rattler there. Brooks may have gotten it, but it wasn't meant to be. It's not, like I said, Georgia is outstanding, just like Arkansas. These were 2 probably of the best teams in the country South Carolina faced the last 2 weeks. It's just unfortunate what happened because I don't think the Gamecocks really even gave themselves a chance to make it competitive, with the issues offensively. I thought the defense obviously got shredded, and Georgia's going to shred a lot of teams this year. The defense was shorthanded. But I do think they did limit the big plays in the first half, Bill. I mean, Georgia had one play over 20 yards. It went for 28. They just sort of marched down the field. Gamecocks just couldn't get off the field, sort of died a slow death. And then, great play call. I think Todd Monken is one of those guys that's kind of in a zone. It's kind of like Steve Sarkisian when he was at Bama. I mean, this guy, it's a different style of offense, but he is in a complete zone. He noticed B.J. Gibson coming in when Warrior went out, went right after him. And it was a 70-something yard touchdown for for Bowers. You know, one of the players they had to stop or at least limit was Bowers, and he went off. So, you know, it's just one of those things where everything that did need to happen for South Carolina did not, and everything that did need to happen for Georgia did. And I think as disappointing as it is, you have to flush it. You have to move forward, and you just have to forget about the last two games because there's 9 left. You know, I don't know. I know this. You know, we could play this game and say, oh, well, nobody's better than Arkansas and Georgia. Well, that may be true right now. I mean, we don't know how teams are going to go up or down as the season goes on. I'll say this, though. South Carolina's defense is not going to face 2 offensive lines as good as Arkansas and Georgia for the rest of the year, unless somehow Clemson, you know, I think Clemson's got talent up front, and they could get it together by then. But based on the first 3 weeks, I mean, there's not a lot of teams that are going to be better up front on offense than the teams they just faced.
Well, okay, let's just go straight to the question then. And we've got several people texting in and asking, I mean, what is the step for the offense? What is the next move here? You know, it's 16 games in. We've seen Marcus Satterfield. I think we can all make informed decisions on this, and I don't know if making a change midseason is the right call or not. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but what do you do? Because JC, you know, South Carolina's right now for some reason a 22.5-point favorite this week. I know Charlotte's defense is pretty bad, but I guess my point is, like, I don't show up to Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday night expecting this thing to magically get going. It is outside of that North Carolina game. It just kind of is what it is. So what is the next step here? Where do you see this thing going?
Well, you know, last season, Bill, I thought, you know, it was hard to tell on play calling because you had so many issues with guys that were new in the system. And, you know what, I know that, like, it's popular to talk about, you know, 4 different quarterbacks and all that, but, you know, the bottom line, Luke Doty started 4 straight games. So did Jason Brown. I mean, you know, but it was still hard, and you just didn't know. You know, was it the quarterback not getting it? This is a brand new system. You know, my thing last year was this is too complicated for this group to have, right, to try to do. So you hope, you know, second year, even though it's Rattler's first year in the system, and you know, if you're going to go hit the portal for a quarterback, you better have a system he can learn quick. I mean, that's not sound if he doesn't know it or can't do it. This year, it's a little bit different. It's more in-game stuff. I mean, you look at South Carolina's drives, okay, in the last 2 weeks, and you can just, if you just wrote down run or pass, right, it would be like pass, 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 run, pass, 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 and then the next drive, run, 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 pass, you know, that kind of thing. I don't think they stay on the field that long, but it's the same thing happened at Arkansas. They had a touchdown drive where they had 0 passing yards, right? I think they called a pass play and got a penalty. But, you know, compare that to Georgia, where, you know, Georgia's sort of running some of the similar formations and concepts and stuff. And what he's doing, he's attacking you on the right. Well, okay, they're going to try to shut that out. Well, let's go back to the left. Let's use misdirection. Okay, well, now we're going to throw a pass. Well, okay, well, now we're going to hit the middle. And it keeps defenses off balance. South Carolina's not doing anything right now, I think, to keep a defense off balance at all. And you achieve that by having balance and variety and knowing what to call and when. And it's just you just don't see it in games. Now, maybe it's the competition. You know, they got players too and coaches too. But, you know, there's just no rhythm to it. And you know, it's not all on the plays all the time. Obviously, when Rattler's throwing interceptions, it's on him. But you know, that Joyner call was, I mean, it was up there with the Burks pass last year for me. I mean, I was astonished. You know, you go out there, you get the ball first, you're driving, and on 3rd and 6, you run a play that's never, ever, ever, ever worked. And we talk about the Joyner package. I think that's what it is. It's a package. It's not a play. You know, because everybody in the stadium knows he's going to keep it. I mean, that's insanity. So, you know, and sure enough, Georgia goes right down and drives. Now, does that cost them the game? No. But did that cost them maybe some momentum early? Probably, yeah. I mean, because it was just deflating.
Well,
And so,
yeah, and we've talked about
I think
it.
they need to try to keep defenses off balance. There's too many good players on this offense and too many options that you have play to play to not have some kind of balance and ability to keep the other team from kind of keying in on what you're doing. And I haven't seen it through 3 games.
Yeah, I want to get into two things with you. We'll talk about Spencer Rattler, but also going back to that Dakereon Joyner play, and not specifically that particular play, but the fact that now 16 games in, JC, eight times South Carolina has not scored in the first quarter, and it's starting off fast. And that's where that Dakereon Joyner play does come in, because as you just said, it takes momentum away, it takes one of your possessions away, and then obviously George is able to go down and score again. So we'll get into Spencer Rattler. I want your thoughts on him this morning. We'll talk a little bit about that, where you see this situation developing. Two games for him to kind of get right, and then we'll also talk about those starts, kind of as you were just alluding to with the play calling and kind of being a little bit maybe either too predictable or not setting up other plays. But the bottom line is, when you talk about getting off to a good start, South Carolina doesn't do it very often in games. They did in the bowl game. Haven't done it much. We'll get those thoughts from J.C. Shurburtt. He is along for the ride and a man of reason. He'll offer plenty of thoughts. You're listening to J.C. Shurburtt, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston,
and the guys from Gamecock Central.
If it's working, then the players are like, yeah, this is great. Let's do it. But when it's not working, then, I mean, if I was Juice Wells, I'll probably be flipping tables over on the sideline. Because what happened? Where was I?
Yeah.
Why wasn't I a focal point of this particular
We
offense?
didn't get to the clip last week. Marcus Satterfield said,
I don't know what that is. Our rhythm, Satterfield. When we get a rhythm, I don't know. I don't. DC, I'm not hearing any excuses. I don't think these are excuses. Nobody's making excuses. I mean, Georgia and Arkansas are really good. Georgia and Arkansas are top 10 teams, but nobody's really making excuses for the play calling or Satterfield. As JC said, some really bad calls. That's
I-20 west side of Monticello Road. We have reported an accident there. Also, the vehicle being called and Long Parkway on State Road. It's going to be warm this week in front of the 93 for the high state, 94 tomorrow, 97 on Thursday. Right now.
This is Joe Cordell. In other ads, I've talked about the weighty matters that are on the table in divorce: assets, debts, spousal support, and of course children. But here I want to talk to you about a troublesome issue that arises early and often in the divorce process, of which attorneys, including myself, think too little about.
there's a actually I don't know what bug this is on the let's see if I can show you this bug. I don't know if but it's crawling up there. I don't know if it's
Cicada?
a cicada, or I don't know if I caught it on the live stream there, but I don't know if it's a cicada or a locust or a what's the grasshopper? I'm guessing it's missing a leg too, like its right upper leg or left.
Oh, I
Right.
see. Yeah. Google that. I'm fascinated.
We're fascinated by that bug.
He's trying.
Yeah, it's making an effort. Feel bad for him.
Google another leg on it real quick.
I keep waiting for like a bird to smack into the window and eat it. Is that Robert Castle? Is that the son? Hope. Oh,
Doesn't appear to be a cicada.
is that? I see the. Actually, I just see it.
Hey, it's Terry Ford from 107.5 The Game with our buddy Adam Vance for Sound and Images. Okay, Adam, we all know Sound and Images as an events company, but you're more than that, aren't you?
We are a commercial audiovisual installation company. And what does that mean? That means that we can come into your place of business. We can help you assess what you have, what you need, where you want to go. We're really big on video conferencing systems. BYOD, as they say, bring your own device, connect wirelessly, connect with ease.
If you want to reach out to Adam Vance, just go to soundandimages.net or call 803-791-3925.
Zero-Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning, the most trusted and cleaning
Did he go away?
What?
No, he's farther up.
Yeah, he's just further up.
I'm quite focused.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hope I'm actually going back and looking at some of his tweets. Yeah, that's a bitter guy, isn't it?
For the real story behind some of wrestling's
Yeah, I forget. This break is so long because we've got so many liners and then the old timey clip.
Yep.
He's very bitter, Hope. Yeah, I was just looking at that. I'll probably just ignore that one.
The fear was Andre died in his mid-40s. Show didn't take care of himself. He would die at a young age.
Something to wrestle wherever you listen.
Oh, my goodness.
Meat Market clip of the day. Joe Morrison's Gamecocks in 1984 won their first 5 games over the Citadel, Duke, Georgia, Kansas State, and Pittsburgh. But those were all home games. Game number 6 would take place at the Cathedral of College Football, Notre Dame Stadium. In the second half, in a drizzling rain, it appeared the number 11 Gamecocks bubble was about to burst. But somehow, some way, Black Magic and the Fire Ants found an answer. In the final minute, one last gasp for the Irish, with Carolina leading 36-32. Here are Bob Fulton and Tommy Suggs.
45 is going to fire long. Johnson's down there and enter. Did he intercept? He did. Count them off. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's celebration time as Carolina has defeated Notre Dame in a thriller here at South Bend this afternoon.
And that's our old-timey clip of the day, sponsored by Old Timey Meat Market with 3 locations, Lexington, South Congaree, and St. Andrews Road in Irmo.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game
With Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Coming up at the end of this segment, we will give away a pair of tickets to this weekend's South Carolina Charlotte game. You can win a pair of tickets. Just keep listening here, and at the end of this segment, it'll be the Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway, where you can win yourself a pair of tickets to this weekend's South Carolina Charlotte game, 7:30 on Saturday night. Charlotte coming off the 42-41 victory over Sean Elliott in Georgia State. Chris Reynolds, the quarterback, for Charlotte, back in action last weekend and played very, very well, JC. He was very good. Spencer Rattler is going to need to play a lot better this weekend. And that's the next question that I have for you and that we kind of discussed this morning is his performance and kind of how much blame does he get, excuse me, for struggling to see the field, for throwing an interception like he did that first one that was just a bad pass, just a really bad decision, but then also maybe not being put in position, not being given some of the play calls or something to make plays kind of similar to what he was able to do at Oklahoma. Where do you lie on this situation through 3 games with Spencer Rattler?
I think Spencer's got a chance to come around. I think he's just got to continue to get comfortable with his blocking. I mean, you know, Georgia didn't sack him this past weekend, but they had 9 quarterback hurries, so that they did affect the passer, and that's what you want. Sacks are sort of overrated at times with regards to that. You know, I'm not in the camp just because Luke Doty came in and played well against backups that, oh, you got to go to Doty now. I'm just not a big fan of overreacting like that. I think Spencer's got all the talent in the world. Has he made some bad decisions? Absolutely. But I also think that when you have a quarterback like that, you know, that has that kind of arm talent, sometimes those things are going to happen. I mean, we see that in the pros too. I mean, you see guys that just, you know, Brett Favre threw a lot of picks. You know, that's just that's kind of the nature of it. Does he need to limit it? Absolutely. Has it been costly? Absolutely. But South Carolina as an offense, you just have right now no margin for error, you know, because they don't have that many scoring drives. I mean, you know, so when you throw a pick in that situation, you know, it's much bigger than if you're going up and down the field and scoring on other plays, on other drives. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, is he? Are they calling the right plays for him? I would probably lean toward probably, you know. But I also know that, you know, the whole offense is just out of rhythm and out of sync. And I started thinking back to last year, and last year was different than this year. This is really 2 different conversations. But if you look at the totality of this offense in South Carolina, you know, the bowl game was great, you know, and a great moment. And you want to beat North Carolina every time you play them. And I thought it was a masterful job of rotating 2 quarterbacks, because that can get tricky, you know, and having a good game plan, and the kids went out and played. But if you really think about that game, Bill, you know, what was the big key? You know, yeah, Joyner hit those 2 long passes, but North Carolina could not stop South Carolina from running the ball. I mean, Harris had 31 carries for 182 yards. They had 310 rushing yards that game. By the end, they were just lining up and running all over them. And when you look at when this offense has worked, it's usually when South Carolina can line up and run it all over you. I mean, Auburn was a game, wasn't that high scoring, but the Gamecocks ran all over them. You know, they ran all over Florida. They ran all over North Carolina. Other than that, you know, it's been a struggle. You know, I mean, we just talked about Charlotte. How many touchdowns do they have? 6.
Last week,
Georgia State?
6. Yes.
Yeah. South Carolina's offense produced 2. Troy last year, Vanderbilt last year, East Carolina last year. None of those were juggernauts defensively. Troy was pretty good, but and even Arkansas, which was a pretty good passing game for the Gamecocks. They had 2 touchdown drives essentially before the game. Really, I don't want to say it was unwinnable, down 19 in the fourth quarter, but 2 of those touchdowns they scored were late. And they're pretty good at scoring touchdowns late, but when the game's not out of hand. But you just kind of look at it, and it's just not. It's not something through 16 games that's really worked. Can it? I'm sure it can. I mean, I have no doubt that they have good play designs. They have good concepts. If you look at Georgia have had a lot of the same formations the Gamecocks did the other day, but you look at how they called it versus how the Gamecocks called it, and it's night and day different. And so I think the key for this offense moving forward is going to be to try to find some rhythm and balance. And when I say balance, I'm not talking about force the run or force the pass. I'm talking about mix it up, because you got to keep defenses off balance. You got to kind of make them guess where it's going. And South Carolina's got a lot of good players on that side of the ball, and they should be able to do that. That should be a very accomplishable goal, and it just hasn't happened through 3 games. Now, like I said, competition's been stiff. It's been, Arkansas and Georgia are both really, really good. But when you kind of look at how the Gamecocks attack a defense, it's not, it's nothing to keep the opposing team off balance. It's more, it reminds me of, and I see this a lot. It reminds me of kind of people, when they call scrimmage, well, let's work on the run game. Okay, run. Let's work on the pass game. And I know that's not the idea, and I'm sure that's not the thought process. But I'm not looking at. I'm looking at the end result, and you can look and see play by play what happens, and they got to mix it up and figure some things out. I think it's frustrating. I think for a lot of folks to say, well, it's 3 games in, 25% of the season's over now. But they got to find that rhythm and balance and the ability to keep defenses kind of guessing, because, I don't want to say it's predictable. I'm just, I guess the best term would be they go to the well too many times with certain things and then abandon other things. And, that rarely works in today's college game.
No, and I'm with you on the run game. The run game is kind of one of the bigger issues right now. You look at the stats on the season, and I thought South Carolina, in the limited opportunities they took, or the limited chances outside of the DeCarrion Joyner play, the limited opportunities that they took at running the football, they had some success. Marshawn Lloyd nearly rips off, I think, what would have been about a 60-yard run. He gets kind of a shoestring tackle there. McDowell had a couple decent runs. You just mentioned it. I'm not trying to convince anybody that the offensive line had an A-plus effort on Saturday. I did think the offensive line played a little better. And given the quality of competition, I factor that in. I'm interested to see now this weekend, as they should, I think you would agree with this, they should be able to move Charlotte and then move South Carolina State around. And if you're going to have 2 games where you get your run game going, these are the 2. And South Carolina's offensive line has done a little bit better. Again, quality of competition matters, and they've done a little bit better at running the football against Arkansas and Georgia, but they don't try to. 27 carries on the year for Marshawn Lloyd, 21 for Juju McDowell. Jaheim Bell's got 11. Christian Bill Smith, I guess, not happy or not healthy. I'm not sure what's going on there with him. But, JC, I think that's where you go this week. You line up, and the discussion in that athletics facility over there all week should be being physical and running the ball down somebody's throat, and it should be Charlotte on Saturday night, and you stick with it for the first half, and you let Lloyd and McDowell do what they can. We'll come back. I'll get your thoughts on that, running the football again. We'll also look around the college football world, some of your thoughts on what's going on in the SEC. We've got a lot to get to here as we roll through. He's J.C. Shurburtt. I'm Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
The year was 2007, and on November 12, 107.5 The Game went on the air. And since then, we have celebrated with you 2 College World Series titles.
Line drive, right field, base hit.
Oh boy.
The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
Bluff Road at I-77, we do have a report of an accident there. Also, supposed to be working an earlier disabled vehicle where the left lane is now blocked. I-26 eastbound at Old Sandy Run Road. Old Charleston Highway at 302, an accident there. And disabled vehicle malfunction junction I-20 westbound at Oxford. In forecast for today, going to be sunny and hot, 93 for the high, 67 right now. Game.
Yeah, I just texted him and said we had that with problem. We think it times out. So I just told him to call him back. Oh, this is one of those mornings. I'm just dragging. I can't kick it into second gear. All right. Oh. Yeah, I saw that. Somebody else brought that up earlier. Bobby Petrino's a questionable human being, but a good football coach. And also apparently a very bad recruiter. That's the one thing. Petrino would be, if he had a staff around him that could recruit, he'd actually be pretty good. But yeah, I can't just. Golly, I don't know what's going on. I can't I'm supposed to play golf today, so I get going, get a little energy. All right. What is this? I just gotta notice that it appears we might have to go to Augusta on Saturday morning for a 9 a.m. soccer game. I was thinking of sleeping in and catching up on sleep as I'm sitting here dragging this morning. I think we've been doing that for a while. That's like, what was it? Who was it? a couple weeks ago. Which was it? Skip Bayless? Was it Skip Bayless who made that comment that went viral about he keeps looking up and South Carolina players are making plays in the pros, and now he understands why Will Muschamp is no longer a head coach. Sorry for so much yawning on camera. Good grief. See, here's the thing. I don't think you want the Joe Brady system. Joe Brady had an elite quarterback and 4 incredible wide receivers.
And I'll remind you as we go to that, because we kind of have to do it going into the break. So I'll vote.
All right.
I'll vote you.
Yeah, if I start to break, just stop me from talking. Or, just
Get out of the way, dumbass.
there you go. Yeah, it's a. Oof. It doesn't help that again. I just got this message about potential soccer at 9 a.m. Saturday morning, which means 7 a.m. wake up.
Coming up at the end of this segment, we will give you at the end of this segment. So here in about 5-6 minutes, we'll give you a chance to win those tickets. You just have to call in. So if Jen will remind me, and I don't forget again, we will make sure we give you a opportunity to win a pair of tickets to Saturday night's game against Charlotte. And Saturday night, JC, I mean, it's Tuesday. We're going to hear from Shane Beamer in a little while. One of the things that I do want to hear is the injury report and hearing defensively some guys that hopefully will be back. I think also Corey Rutger seems like maybe he's progressing. Maybe they can get him back. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case or not. But what do you right now want to see on Saturday night from this football team? Is it just a matter of bouncing back and showing signs of life and continuity, or is there something independent of or something in particular, something specific that you're kind of interested in trying to catch on Saturday night and see where this program is now in year 2 under Shane Beamer? We got him.
Defining.
There he is. So start over. We didn't have you right on right away.
Okay. Are you there?
Now we're here. Yes, there you go.
All right, get that clapper
Okay,
thing.
good.
Take 2.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. I don't think the next 2 weeks are program defining. I think that the next 2 weeks are important from the standpoint of, I call them get right games. They're games you need to get right. Now, Charlotte's got a good offense. Elijah Spencer, a receiver who played at Dutch Fort, 16 catches for 319 yards this year so far, big play guy. You mentioned they got their quarterback back. He threw 5 touchdown passes at Georgia State last week in an upset win. They're going to come in and try to score on the Gamecocks. So South Carolina's got to be, disciplined on defense. They got to put pressure on him, stop which they should be able to do, stop the pass, don't give up big plays, that kind of thing. And, I think his defense will bounce back. I mean, he's played 2 of the best offenses in the country, and I know people are disappointed, but, it's awfully hard when you're down, and if you look at the long pass to Bowers, poor BJ Gibson, he's a good player. He just, he got thrown in, and here's an example of play calling. They recognized it, and they went right at him with Bowers. and that pretty much salted the game away. So injuries matter. I mean, you don't have your best guys out there. You're probably going to struggle against Georgia, but we'll see who they get back this week. Obviously, it'd be big to get Cam Smith back with the way Charlotte likes to throw the football. I think obviously they'll have an advantage, the Gamecocks, on their D line. I'd like to see them step up and play really well. Linebackers did not have a good day, but, Bill, I was sitting here. It was about an hour before kickoff, and I posted on the Big Spur. I was like, one thing I did not mention this week, linebackers have to have a good game. They have to have a good game against these guys because they put your linebackers in conflict constantly with how they run their offense, and they did not, just to be honest. And so they need to bounce back. The defense needs to bounce back. This is a good offensive team. This is not a team that can't score on you. So I hope I'd like to see a big night out of them. Offensively, I'm just looking for rhyme, reason, balance. I don't think that, I think Carolina will be able to do a lot against the Charlotte defense Saturday night. But lining up and just running the ball and, hey, here it is, stop it, that kind of thing, over and over, I'm looking for some balance and, them to throw the Charlotte defense off a little bit. They've got a physical advantage, but, I think that's the key. You need to get Juice Wells back involved. I'm kind of astonished. I thought maybe Georgia had done a good job covering him up, and without looking at the tape, I don't know that. But it seems to me like from what people have been saying, he just wasn't ever targeted. I don't know if he's open or not. I just that was the SEC's leading receiver coming into the Georgia game. He doesn't get any touches or targets. I think Jaheim Bell needs to be involved in the passing game. Obviously he's a weapon. When he's involved in the passing game, he makes things happen. Still looking for some more out of Josh Vann. I think Jalen Brooks has actually been the most consistent receiver out there, depending on what actually happened with Juice last weekend. So, Stogner needs to be more involved in the passing game. So they've got a lot of work to do. I mean, it's not, you do what you need to do to win the game. You don't go out in any game and say, oh, we're going to work on this or work on that. But, these games where, like Georgia State, where they had 2 touchdown drives, or like, Troy last year, or Vandy, or even East Carolina. I mean, that can't keep happening. And I think everybody knows that. They need to go out and play their best and play like they're capable and get a nice win. And they get a nice win the following week, and then go to Kentucky, a confident football team, because, I'll tell you this about Kentucky. I mean, what they do to you is they are banking on you to screw up. Like at Florida, Anthony Richardson, I think, was 14 for 35, off, just completely off. And if you're off against them, they're going to beat you. If you're not, you're in the game. So looking down the road, that's going to be very, very important, I think, for the program, for the football team, for everything. That game in Lexington coming up on October 8th.
We'll come back, get a little bit of an update. Carolina Rise. You can go to thebigspur.com and follow JC for all of the great stuff that he's talking about. We'll also talk with him about his NIL initiative, Carolina Rise, when we come back. Right now, though, we want to give you a chance to win a pair of tickets. This is the Carolina Honda Powerhouse ticket giveaway. Call us, 803-404-6100. We'll come back on the other side and finish up hour number 2 with JC Shurburtt.
Call now to win Gamecocks tickets right here. 803-404-6100. Sponsored by Carolina Honda Powerhouse. Your source for Honda Power Sports. ATVs, motorcycles, side-by-side.
I think that knocked him off.
Home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass. A true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Bluff Road at I-77, a report of an accident there. Also, I-26 eastbound at Bush River Road, an object on the highway. I-26 eastbound near the Lexington-Calhoun County line, a disabled vehicle slowing things down. North Brickyard Road at North Springs Road, there is a report of a tie-up. Also, Old Charleston Highway at Old Charleston Road at 302, an accident there. and St. Andrews Road at I-26. So be careful out there this morning. Sunny and hot today and tomorrow, 93 and 94 for your highs. 68 right now at 107.5 The Game.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game
is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. Charging a cell phone can be like getting a booster shot. A booster is given to enhance or restore protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule an appointment when you are eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech.
Life matters. He seldom lost. He was lightning fast and deceptively tough. In fact, I thought he would retire undefeated. But after his first loss, boxing. I never thought.
Oh.
That was a pretty good perspective coming from the champ, who reminded us regularly that he was the king of the world. And it might surprise you to know this perspective too. Paul the Apostle told the Corinthian church, "We may be knocked down, but we're not knocked down." He meant that even in setback times, the loss was only temporary. We can remember to follow God's kingdom and keep first things first. This is Stephen Chitty, reminding you that life matters and serving you.
Lexington. Playing out the country club today. Play out at the country club. I think it's like 1:30-ish. So we'll get some stuff done this morning and go chase the white ball around. I'm trying to think. I think I played. When was the last time I played? Oh, at our golf tournament. I played at our golf tournament. That's right. So 4 weeks ago. So been a little up and down this summer. Had some good rounds and some not so good rounds. Oh. Is it today? How bad? I thought it was tomorrow and Thursday's supposed to be brutal. I think it's supposed to be like 97. Yeah, it's only supposed to be 91 today. Yeah, I do need to get out there. I agree. Really, the only reason we're going to play today is for someone's birthday. This isn't. It will have fun, but it's not a. It's a birthday round for a buddy of mine. So we're getting. I'm gonna try and get out there in the next. This is the time of the year to play. Only not. Hey, look, man. Only 91. I'm good with. Yeah, there'll probably be some bourbon consumed or something. Figure something out.
This update is sponsored by AAA Heating and Air, home of the $1,500 buyback. AAA Heating and Air must clear out your warehouse before you know that efficiency regulations go into effect in 2023. No deals will be turned down. Call today to get a new unit tomorrow. 813-677-5000. Broadcasting live from the Heritage Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game. Stop by
online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game with Bill Gunter and Jen and Vince on your home of the Gamecocks. The early game, 107.5 The Game.
Wrapping up our Tuesday segment with JC Shurburtt. We'll be back on Thursday as we will really start to get into the weekend and look more at that Charlotte game, as he does each and every week. We appreciate JC joining us, but let's get back into something else. We haven't talked the NIL stuff. Just overall, JC, I guess it's a big deal in the offseason. Maybe recruiting. I'm not real sure. Because it was a big talk this summer, May, June, July. And then I guess because you get into the season and maybe some of this stuff dies down. But how's Carolina Rise doing? And we haven't talked about it in a few weeks. For those that are a little unfamiliar with it, give us a little bit more of a breakdown there.
Oh yeah, Carolina Rise is a NIL collective. What we do is we provide promotional opportunities to Gamecock student athletes. In other words, we have members, just like a website or whatever. You can join at just about any price point. We have the 1801 Club, which if you join for 1801, you get a car magnet and membership and all that good stuff. And then we have some giveaways and stuff for our members. Gave away some lodge seats to the South Carolina State game to a member the other day. So got some for Texas A&M coming up too. And all that money goes to help Carolina student athletes. I mean, with Gigi Jackson as a client of ours, we help with that. A lot of baseball players, Jaheim Bell, Muhammad Kaba was a client of ours. Stone Blanton is a guy that's done some work for us, and we're expanding, but we need Gamecock fans to join up. You can go to carolinarise.com to join up today. We'd love to have you and all that good stuff. It's just, like I said, all that money just goes to fund NIL deals for student athletes and to help the Gamecocks compete. And then on a bigger note, the ESM deal that South Carolina signed with the Everett Sports Marketing, was hailed as a game changer. And I think it is. I mean, that type of thing is very appealing to like a player like Nick Harbor, who visited this past weekend, who's probably going to be an Olympian, who will be able to command major endorsement deals as a college athlete. And I think that's a big deal for he and his family in terms of South Carolina's selling pitch, that and the academic part of it and some other things. So, it's one of those things where I think in general with the collectives, it's been a little slow, but I think it's that way in a lot of places. Gamecock fans aren't unique in terms of, well, what is this? Where's the money going? All that good stuff. But I think the University of South Carolina, with everyone involved, my collective, Garnet Trust, and the ESM deal and some other things, I think that South Carolina is well positioned to compete in that space. And I don't know that like 9 months ago when all this started that a lot of Gamecock folks would have thought that, but we still need a lot more. We've got a fraction of the people that are members of the BigSpur.com are members of Carolina Rise. So we need a whole lot more, and there's power in numbers. And $10 a month, $18 a month goes a long way to help fund all this stuff. And we certainly need everybody to get out there and consider joining if you can do it.
We will catch up with you on Thursday. I want to get into a little bit of recruiting. Nicholas Harbor, we didn't talk much about that today, but I think there's still some returns that you guys at the Big Spur will get over the next few days. Obviously, we'll hear from Shane Beamer today, and then you'll hear from him, I guess, technically tomorrow on the Wednesday teleconference as well. So when you return on Thursday, we got plenty of stuff to get into. Appreciate you waking up, getting going, and taking time out of your schedule to join us each and every day.
Hey, thanks, Bill. Enjoyed it, and we'll talk soon. And get those the Clemson people out of your phone lines there.
Yeah, we'll check into those bugs there. Appreciate you, buddy. Hour number 3 on the way next. It's the early game. 107.5 The Game.
Celebrating our 15th anniversary is Columbia's Sports Talk Station, sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
107.5 The Game.
A Cumulus media station.
Did you know a fire department responds to a fire every 23 seconds? First Alert is reminding you to be prepared by installing smoke and carbon monoxide alarms on every level and in each bedroom of your home. Don't forget to add First Alert fire extinguishers on every level, plus in common spaces like the kitchen, and know how to use them. Protect your whole home with safety you can trust by visiting firstalert.com and Lowe's stores today.
You've got bugs. What's your move? A rattly can? Or a simple spritz? Bugs near your kids and pet? Will it be ingredients you can't pronounce? Ew. Or essential oils? Bother the bugs, not your family. Zevo uses essential oils, which attack bugs' biological systems, so Zevo kills bugs, plus is safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo. People friendly. Bug deadly.
Just
Now
as you feel the effects of the summertime heat, your house feels it too. Lack of rain, high humidity, and random storms wreak havoc on your home's foundation, causing wall cracks, sticking windows and doors, mold, and musty smells. Mount Valley Foundation Services knows this and is ready to help. They'll protect and repair your home with permanent foundation, basement, and crawl space solutions. Schedule your free, no-obligation appointment today. Visit fixmyfoundation.com. That's fixmyfoundation.com.
Mount Valley Foundation Services, rock solid foundations.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge for a coupon and daily support? Sign up at Metamucil.com today.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is...
If you have tax problems, it can affect all aspects of your life. Now's the time to do something about it. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. Everyone at our firm truly believes we can improve the lives of our clients by eliminating the stress and worry of IRS tax problems. We're
Keyword contest in about 30 seconds.
committed to resolving your tax problems for good. Simply put, we solve tax problems. So if you're facing IRS tax liens, bank or wage levies, or have years of unfiled tax returns, come meet with us in person. Your first visit is free and confidential. We'll show you how we will solve your problem and how much it'll cost. So don't put it off any longer. Call us now at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to our website at irsproblemsolving.com. It is time to do something about that tax problem. Your solution is right here in South Carolina. So hire a South Carolina attorney. Hire me.
It's time for your chance to win $100 and qualify for the $25,000 grand prize in our $25,000 signing bonus contest. Just text the following national keyword to 95819. Your national keyword to text is
Bill. B-I-L-L. You could think of it like dollar bill or like Bill Gunner, whatever.
Dollar bill.
B-I-L-L, Bill.
Text that national keyword to 95819. Standard text messaging rates may apply. Please don't text and drive. The $25,000 signing bonus contest on 107.5 The Game.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, your trusted family-owned dealership since 1961. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
The early game with Bill Gunter.
So we have Bill doing some housekeeping right now. Pretty fantastic. I'm like, a little to the left, a little to the left, a little to the right, up a little bit more.
And Jen Jensen. Decorating the studio at 6:37 in the morning. You're listening to Bill Gutter and Jen Jensen. If you're watching on the live stream, you're seeing us entertain ourselves by trying to move a flag around and get it stuck to the wall, and that led to.
But then the right was down a little bit. It's like you gotta get it level.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
You're not going to believe this.
107.5.
He killed 16 Czechoslovakians. Guy was an interior decorator.
The Game.
It starts with me. I obviously didn't do a good enough job of getting them ready this week. Georgia's a really good team, but we did not perform anywhere near our capabilities today, unfortunately, and that starts with me. But just that, we need to worry about ourselves. We're a third of the way through the season. We're 1-2. Nobody thought we'd be 1-2 right now. It is what it is. What we're going to do is we're going to go right back to work tomorrow and get back to work and get ready for Charlotte coming in here next week and continue to get our football team better. I mean, that was the key to our team last year is we got better as the season went on. And that's going to be the key with this year's team. Do we continue to get better? And do these young players continue to get more experience? And do our injured guys get healthy? And that's the thing. We all got to be better, starting with me. And then we talked about the older guys on this team, the seniors, the leaders. This is their team, and we'll go as they go. And we need them to rally everybody. But our guys are a resilient group, and they're hurting right now because they had every anticipation and expectation to perform better today than what we did.
We know. That was Shane Beamer talking on Saturday afternoon after the South Carolina loss to Georgia, and joined now by a guy that I used to be able to discuss this with on Saturdays before the football game, which is why I wanted him to pop in on our program. Heath Klein, you've heard him. He on in the afternoon. You'll hear him again today from 3 to 6. And Heath, we last year, we got to do a pregame show with you. So every week we would get to discuss some of the things we see and go back and forth as we previewed that day's game. Obviously, soccer has pulled me away. Kids getting in the way. But
let's be honest, he's intimidated by you, Heath.
Yeah, that's it.
I am a menacing presence.
which is why we've asked you to stay out of the studio when we do these segments. So
I meant more intellectually.
Yeah, that too. That too. But
hey, I've been working out. Come on.
There you go. Yeah, you're actually the runner of the station. You're the guy that goes and runs in those 5Ks and things, right? I mean, you're the.
Oh, well, I mean, if you call running in a 5K in any way meaningfully running, all joking aside, the one thing that is funny is I always get people that'll say something to me because you guys know, I'm just somebody who walks around with a big smile, like, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? It's like, yes, I'm fine. I just don't smile a lot. So, but I'm a very menacing, intimidating presence. Come on, Bill, you know this. Bill Gunner, every picture of Gunner, he's always smiling. Doesn't matter what it is. I envy Bill on this because he has this ability. I'm not going to say Gunner looks good in every picture because that's right. Clearly not true. But every picture, Gunner has this ability to have this big grin going, hey, me, I'll feel great. And then somebody is looking at me like, watch out for that dude. I don't know.
Well, Bill's middle name is Cheeseball, so that may make a little more sense.
Most interaction Jen's gotten involved in the program in 4 weeks. Heath comes on and Jen's just all of a sudden just thrilled to start talking and have a good time. I did understand that somebody questioned your sense of humor in the studio a few weeks ago. Someone on another one of our stations wondered if you had some. Huh?
I may have forgotten about this if I knew about it. Did somebody else talking about me?
No, I think they did.
I never talk about you guys.
They did it to
your.
From what I was told, they did it to your face, and you informed them deadpan that yes, you do have a sense of humor. They just might not be good enough to get it.
Oh, okay. Heck, man, I don't know. I can't remember yesterday half the time. So,
well, that's good because I was going to get you to talk about not yesterday, but Saturday. And Heath, I want to go back. I played that clip, and it's interesting because I get what Shane is saying. Nobody in their athletic facility down there, nobody thought that they would be 1-2, but I think most people on the outside, okay, this is where you kind of expected South Carolina to be. Now, maybe how they arrived here with the offense isn't what we expected, but now I guess, do you say, all right, the season really gets going because you got 2 get-right games, and then you've got that Kentucky game on October 9th? Is that where you're kind of leading people when you're talking about it in the afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, that's been the story the whole time. I mean, look, Arkansas was a game you could have won. It was not inconceivable the gap in talent between you and Georgia, we knew was there. It just got illustrated even more clearly the other day. The gap in talent between Georgia and basically everyone in the country that is not named Ohio State or Alabama is meaningful. It's a big deal. I mean, look at some of the teams behind them. Clemson has a lot of talent. Clemson does not have Georgia talent. Michigan has some talent. They do not have Georgia talent. Look at the rest of the top 10, and you tell me who's even in the same conversation when it comes to just raw talent that Georgia has. And then you look at how they have developed that talent and how they've even developed some kids. Remember, Georgia did not have A.D. Mitchell in that game. That's a guy who's possibly their leading receiver. They didn't have Eric Gilbert, a guy who some people have been hyping up as maybe his elite talent from the minute he got to LSU, and they still look like that. That team just right now is on a different level, and everybody knew it. And to win against them was going to require them helping you out. And at some point, the goal for Shane Beamer and everybody else in the country is to get to the point where you can beat them without them having to basically do things to help you out to beat them. But you're not there right now. Arkansas is not that. Arkansas is a team that is well coached, has had more time to develop in their systems than South Carolina has some excellent players, and then adding a guy like Drew Sanders out of the transfer portal and Jaden Hazelwood out of the transfer portal has made an immediate impact for them. But it wasn't a game that it was completely impossible for you to win unless you were just perfect. You couldn't get that one. But if you were ranking the games at the start of the season, who's the most winnable games? Arkansas was not in the group that you were saying you were going to win to get to a bowl. It wasn't. It's a ranked team on the road that had already beaten another ranked team. So you look at this, and no, you're where you're expected to be. Take care of your business on the next two. Hopefully, if you're talking about the team's defense, you improve partially by getting some reps from some guys who just haven't played much yet, but also by getting guys healthy. And then, look, it's another ranked team on the road right now in Kentucky, and top 10 team on the road. But again, much like Arkansas, it doesn't feel like raw talent that the gap is so substantial you can't make it up. So that's where your season begins, and you got to hope that if a Kentucky or whoever pulls away, that maybe somebody else like a Texas A&M might be coming back towards you, which is a game that before the season none of us had as a possible win for them because of the humiliations they've suffered against the Aggies the last 2 years. But if the Aggies keep looking on offense like they are, then that one maybe starts to open up as one we can at least talk about a little bit.
Yeah, and I guess where I take it, I agree with everything you just said, but then that brings us to what seems to be the issue. I think if South Carolina had been semi-competitive, I really couldn't blame with the Arkansas game. There were things in that Arkansas game we go, yeah, I wish you did this a little bit better. Defensively, you give up 3 scores on the first 3 possessions, and you give up another 200-yard rushing day to an opponent. But last weekend, South Carolina just wasn't competitive. And now the questions about the offense are there. You get on our text line in the afternoon, you see what people are saying. And to me, that's kind of where we're at the next 2 weeks. Chris Reynolds and Charlotte come in, and they're going to throw the football around this weekend. It might be a scenario where if everybody's not as healthy as you need them to be, you might have to use your offense to win this game. Let me ask you real quick. Are you surprised 22.5 points? That's the spread in this game?
No, because the defense has been so incredibly bad for Charlotte all year. I mean, yes, they won last week finally, but they still let that Georgia State offense get into the 40s. I mean, we saw that Georgia State offense firsthand. They are not exactly built for major point production week in, week out, even against a pretty rough North Carolina defense that had given up 61 points the week before. They weren't getting there. So, this is a team that has been the most pliable defense in college football all of this season and the second half of last season. So while you're right, getting their quarterback back, of course, helps make them a better football team, as it would almost anybody. This week is the absolute acid test for this offense. If come Monday, we are discussing this team scoring in the 20s on this defense with the broad array of people that have scored 40 and 50 on this team, then it is inexcusable. With the talent they have playing at home, there is no justifying it. I don't care what happens. No way it can be justified. Either this offense puts up piles of points this week, or they've got to acknowledge there is a serious problem. And at this point, the problem is not raw talent.
For the record, as Heath pointing it out, Florida Atlantic beat Charlotte 43-13. William and Mary, known offensive powerhouse, put up 41 in a 41-24 victory. Maryland put up 56 and a 56-21 victory. And then last week, Charlotte finally got their first win, a 42-41 win over Georgia State. So as Heath just said, 3 games where Charlotte has given up 41 points or given up points in the 40s, and a 4th game in which they allowed Maryland into the 50s, which is what makes it so interesting. We'll continue with Heath Klein. He's hanging around. We'll do this weekly. Normally he'll do it on Wednesdays, but tomorrow Cedric Maxwell will be joining us, former Boston Celtic, will be in studio. So moved him to Tuesdays this week, but he'll start doing a little talking with us so we can banter back and forth. We'll get back into that offense. And also I want to pick Heath's brain on some college football things. Herm Edwards may have been fired on the field Saturday night. Somebody sent us the video of that. That looks pretty interesting. And we'll also talk a little bit about Auburn because I'm very interested to get Heath's thoughts on what's going on down there on the plains. You're listening to Heath Klein, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The year was 2007, and on November 12th, 107.5 The Game went on the air. And since then, we have celebrated with you 2 women's national championships in hoops.
A spectacular performance, and South Carolina has won the national championship.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
South Carolina has captured its second national championship. Tears of triumph in 2022.
Happy anniversary to us on your home of the Gamecocks.
It comes with a great deal of pressure. Pressure because we were the number 1 team in the country throughout the entire season. Pressure to come into the NCAA tournament and be the favorites.
107.5 The Game and the new 107.5 The Game app.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
Bit of a slowdown there. I-26 eastbound at St. Andrews Road. The center lane is currently blocked, so kind of be cautious approaching that area. Also in Lexington, Beechwoods Road, Beechwoods Drive near Highway 378. Blythewood Road between I-77 and Boney Road, an accident there. I-20 westbound at Two Notch Road, we have a report of a tie-up. Also an accident north Brickyard Road at North Springs Road. And 277 southbound at Hardin Street Extension, you will find an accident. Doesn't feel like mid to late September necessarily. 93 for the high today, 94 tomorrow. Could hit a record high of 97 on Thursday. Right now, though, 70 at 107.5 The Game.
This is Former Science with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Indeed. Attract, interview, and hire at Indeed.com/credit. The Mets last night clinched a playoff berth for the first time since 2016. As I and my fellow Mets fans had hoped, Steve Cohen's deep pockets are a game changer. For the first time since 1989, the Mets boast the highest payroll in Major League Baseball, and it's paying off. Former Science.
Stay ahead of fall hiring needs with Indeed. Their end-to-end platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Sponsor a job and instantly receive a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Dell Technologies semi-annual sale has...
Jen, we messed up yesterday. We should have we forgot to mention it was Reggie Anderson's birthday yesterday.
It's baseball season, so have you covered your bases by getting a COVID-19 booster shot? A booster can help enhance your protection after a primary series vaccination, which wanes over time. Schedule a booster appointment when eligible. Sponsored by Pfizer and BioNTech. Sponsored by Lowe's. Don't miss the energy savings event at Lowe's. Save energy and save money on select major appliances, including Whirlpool. Selection varies by location. Visit Lowe's.com for details. Valid through 9/28. The demand for your used car is at an all-time high, and it's never been worth more. Hurry, Chevrolet needs your trade. We'll buy your car, even if you don't buy ours. And to prove it, we're willing to beat any written offer by $500. That's right, we'll beat any written offer by $500. Visit Hurry Chevrolet today. Installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. In Lane, windows, and doors. Visit them online at awtsc.com.
As the official team physician, South Carolina Gamecock, Prisma Health Orthopedics will give you and your family the same care they provide to top athletes. Prisma Health Orthopedics continues to lead patient-centered care by offering outpatient procedures at the Prisma Health Orthopedic Surgery Center. This surgery center allows patients
Prisma, Pfizer. That's a minute. All right, we're doing good. I see. By the way, I was watching y'all talk about this. I think one thing, it took Spurrier 6 years, and Spurrier made a lot of mistakes early on with John Hunt and Tyrone Nix, and things kind of fell into place. And I really sense that there's some things that are occurring that are similar to that.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer. Broadcasting live from the Herm Chevrolet Studios. It is 1075. Shop online today and see why Herm Chevrolet makes you smile.
Joined by Heath Klein, and you can actually go visit him. You don't even have to go to his house to say hello. You can go hang out with him this coming Thursday for a special edition of Game Time Football Thursday, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Columbia Craft on Green Street. Columbia Craft can be your game day headquarters. Columbia Craft is proudly distributed throughout the Midlands by KW Beverage. So not only do you get to listen to him this morning, you can hear him all throughout the week from 3 to 6, and you can go hang out with him, give him a high five or a fist bump or whatever you like to do when you see your favorite celebrity around town this coming Thursday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Again, he'll be at Columbia Craft over on Green Street. Make Columbia Craft your game day headquarters. And speaking of game day headquarters, people will probably want to watch a lot of football this weekend. You got some really good ones, Clemson and Wake Forest this weekend, Heath. I want to go back to last weekend. Brian Harsin, in my opinion, this thing, I don't know. You look at their schedule, they get Missouri this weekend, and then it really gets difficult. LSU, Georgia, Mississippi, all right after that. And Brian Harsin, this was a disaster. I thought it was a disaster from the get-go. I'll get your opinion on that, bringing him in over some of the other options they've had. And I would be – I put the odds now at 50-50. He becomes the third coach to get fired midway through the season, joining Scott Frost and Herm Edwards in the unemployment line.
It's just a race as to who's going to do it next. I mean, there's some dudes that everybody understands fully that they're fired. It's just a matter of when you bother to tell everybody that they're fired. And so, I mean, look, Colorado, the program I'm a fan of, obviously sent out a statement, a 3-paragraph statement that included things like, quote, "I want you to know that I hear you. I recognize and understand your disappointment and frustration and perhaps even anger. We have not come close to meeting our expectations this season, and we own that." Mind you, that was them not announcing a firing. So Colorado is going to fire Carl Durrell at some point, and will it be them after another week or two where they can't put out another statement like that without saying, and we're going to actually do something about it? Or will it be Auburn whenever basically Jimmy Rain, the big booster over there, says, all right, it's time? Who knows? But yeah, barring something that it's really hard to imagine, I don't see any scenario Brian Harsin makes it through this season. And the thing is, Bill, I was actually over there. I don't know if you know this or not. I was actually over there for that game with San Jose State because Gamecocks had the early game. I've got an uncle over there I hadn't seen basically since before COVID. And so my wife and I said, you know what, let's go see him. And she'd never been to Auburn for anything to see a game. So we ducked over there. And I've been to Auburn as a fan, just, a casual fan. I'm not an Auburn fan, but as a casual fan in the stands, I've been to Auburn for a few games through the years, and I've covered a couple of games over there. I know what that place is supposed to feel like when they're into it, and not just for a big game. I mean, for a San Jose State level game, Bill, it was dead. I mean, it was completely dead. And people openly talking about, how long is it going to take before we actually fire Harsin? At the half of the game, it's 10-7. San Jose State has the lead. Auburn wins it, but I mean, there's no joy, there's no energy, there's no anything. And even more alarming, Bill, if you watch them play San Jose State, like individually, there'll be a Tank Bigsby that looks like an SEC athlete is supposed to look like, and the gap between an SEC athlete and a San Jose State, there are way too many times in that game where you cannot tell meaningfully the difference. If you didn't know the difference, you can't tell the difference between Auburn athletes and San Jose State athletes way too often. And that's not all on Harsin. He hasn't been there that long, but it was a terrible hire. It was a classic case of a guy. Harsin wanted to get a new job out of Boise State, time to go get paid. Auburn couldn't figure out what they were trying to do. You had some people over there that wanted to promote Kevin Steele, some people who wanted to promote somebody else who was kind of their pet guy, maybe even Muschamp. And so you wind up with the AD trying to go independent and just get the biggest name he can after Venables isn't interested. Other people aren't interested. He's going for the biggest name he can, regardless of whether or not the guy's a fit. It was a case where everybody involved is doing something for the wrong reason. And when everybody involved is doing something for the wrong reason, the odds it works out well are pretty slim. And it has been a straight up disaster.
That does have an impact. South Carolina and Auburn recruit Atlanta and obviously the state of Georgia. And so this is an opportunity. You're very rarely going to beat Georgia on a kid that they want, especially now. But it is a scenario, much like Steve Spurrier was able to take advantage of the state of North Carolina there for a few years as North Carolina kind of fell down a little bit. Clemson struggled. You were able to get guys from kind of the Rock Hill, Charlotte area, and then obviously go in and get guys from North Carolina like Chris Culliver and Melvin Ingram and Travian Robertson, guys like that. I think Auburn struggling right now. This is where the South Carolina staff, Heath, has to go into Atlanta, has to go in there. And again, you're not going to beat Georgia. That's going to be difficult. It's going to become a little bit more difficult, I think, to beat Tennessee if they want to go into that state. But you can maybe get some kids out of there that typically Auburn might have gotten in the past because of their tradition. Maybe that's where I keep an eye on that Auburn situation. And if they hire a new coach, who they go about getting that could get life back into that program and create some recruiting battles that Auburn would typically win.
Yeah, certainly the next hire is going to be fascinating. And keep in mind, right now there's not an AD either. So there's an interim, but there's not a real AD. So is this time going to be straight up booster hire, or are they going to have someone come in as an AD that has any input into it at all? Because what the boosters are into is they're into Auburn people. So when you see people say like, oh, Deion Sanders would be great at Auburn. Well, maybe Deion Sanders would be great at Auburn, but Deion Sanders is not going to come in there beholden to the big booster types over there that have had way too much influence in that program for decades. He's not going to be doing that. So, I mean, I know. If you say the idea Will Muschamp might get another SEC head coaching job, people think you've been huffing paint. I get it. But remember, there are people over there that still believe, hey, he's an Auburn guy. I know him. I like him. He gets us. He can recruit here. Yeah, he had problems in South Carolina. Who cares? With our money, he'll be fine at Auburn. Like, I'm not saying it will be Will Muschamp, but given the people they've gone after in the past, again, Gene Chizik had 5 wins in 2 years at Iowa State. Nobody else in America would have hired Gene Chizik away from Iowa State. Auburn said, let's go get that guy. Nobody else has ever even remotely considered the notion of Kevin Steele as a head coach since the Baylor debacle. That's who Auburn people were fighting in some cases to try and get as their head coach last time. Like, their priority is someone who understands where the bodies are buried over there and how they like to make the sausage. And, it could be real interesting to see where this thing goes if everything happens the way people expect, that Harsin can't turn this around and at some point the power brokers make their move. Who's doing the hire? Can they get the factions on the same page or not? Bill, that could be a stupendous adventure to follow over the next couple of months.
Will Muschamp back as a head football coach would be really neat to watch. I will say that. I want to get your thoughts. Nebraska and Arizona State. Arizona State. Let's go with Herm Edwards. A lot of people. I was surprised by this. I asked earlier in the program if you had to choose between those two, if those were your two choices, and you were going to be a head coach, where would you go? I thought Nebraska would kind of be the pick. It's Arizona State.
No. Oh my Lord, no.
Well, this is a debate I would have. I really why? Let me go back. Before I go into my thing. Why? Why would you go Arizona State?
Have you ever been to either place?
No, not well.
Okay.
No, but I if we're just talking towns, cities, climate, many other factors that don't involve football, yes, I would imagine Tempe is about a 10 and Lincoln is about a -2.
I have never been to a football game at Nebraska. I have been to Nebraska football games, but not in Nebraska. But I've been to their stadium. I've been to their city. I've walked around, and I've been to the spring game at Arizona State. I've not gotten to do a fall game yet at Arizona State, but I have been to their spring game. Tempe is not the most beautiful campus you will ever see, but the people on Tempe's campus are ridiculous. Trying to recruit, well, look, I don't want to get into stuff that's not appropriate for a morning show and for people with kids in their car, but if you go back and you look through the history of some of the things that have happened at Arizona State, the level of partying that goes on at that school, the level of social life that goes on at the school. At one point, they had a scandal involving a member of the student government also being involved in some illicit video. That's where I'll just leave that.
Okay.
You can have a preposterous amount of fun at Arizona State, whether you are an athlete or not. It's also beautiful weather. It's also very close to California and Southern California. It's close to Texas. So you've got two really good recruiting areas to draw from that are not super, super far away for people to come. And even now, Las Vegas, Bill, has become a real recruiting spot. So you've got a lot of talent nearby to draw from. Now you also have the Southern California schools leaving the Pac-12. So the path to success in that conference is more wide open than ever. There's a fantastic opportunity there for somebody. That program should have been a top 25 program on a regular basis for decades. Nebraska has nothing going for them other than the loyalty of their fans and the intensity that they have to want to win. But draw a 5-hour window from them for recruiting. What do you got? You got next to nothing. You got a bunch of sheep. You got some corn. Corn doesn't play offensive line. They cannot go get talent like they used to out of New Jersey, out of Florida, out of Texas, out of California. There's too many schools in those states that are competing. There's too many schools that are going into those states and competing for the talent. Rutgers used to be a joke. Now you're in the same conference as Rutgers. Telling some guy, hey, you can play in the Big Ten from New Jersey. Why is he going to go to Nebraska to do that? You're in a conference that is a better conference for your wallet, but is a poorer conference for your competitive level. Nebraska will never, ever, ever come close to being a top 20 program with consistency. Again, even if they hire a good coach, they have a recruiting deficiency they're not making up. Arizona State is an underachiever. Nebraska is never going to be what they were. They're the dude who lost all their hair and isn't going to grow it back, but doesn't seem to know yet.
We got all this on the podcast, right, Jen? We've got Corn doesn't play football, dude who lost all his hair. We have a mini breakdown. Heath probably doesn't realize that at 8:30, most kids are already put in school, but we appreciate you not going into much detail on the video that you alluded to. People can Google that, I guess, when they get to their own office and run into trouble. I'll say this with Nebraska. I believe now with NIL that location doesn't matter quite as much. If you've got boosters, and you just mentioned it, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm very familiar with the Arizona State booster system and how invested they are in football, but I think Nebraska would be willing to, their fan base when it comes to NIL might be more willing to jump in and help that program than Arizona State. And also because of the tradition and the fan base. I think it's interesting when you look at those two programs, but you said what I was going to ask you next. Can Nebraska ever come back? Like, is that program just one that now Heath, I'm 20. What is it? Is it 20 years since they lost to Miami in the national championship game? Is that right?
Yeah, it was the 2001 season where Colorado destroyed them in the Big 12 title game, 62-36. And then, despite the fact, I was wrong. It was to keep them from getting to the Big 12 title game. They didn't even make the Big 12 title game. Colorado destroyed them 62-36 and won the Big 12 title, but they still sent Nebraska, the losers in the division in the Big 12, to the national title game because the BCS was such a brilliant system. And so, yeah, they got worked over by Miami, and then that's it. They basically have never been able to sustain high level relevance since then. They got rid of Solich a couple years later and have had this series of coaches. They've tried everything. They said, we're going to go with an NFL guy. That didn't work. They said, okay, well, we're going to go with a guy who's more familiar with the program, a tougher guy. Well, then he was too mean. We don't like him. Okay, well, we're going to go with the nice guy because that guy was too mean with Mike Riley. Oh, wait, the nice guy can't actually coach football anymore effectively. All right, well, we'll go to our beloved native son, Scott Frost, with an undefeated season at UCF. This one can't miss, and it has missed as spectacularly as any hire we've seen in the last decade. I mean, there are no good answers for them. There really aren't. Like, if you hire Lance Leipold away from Kansas, you've got the money to do it. He'd probably take the job. He's an excellent coach. He can make you better. They could be, I'm not saying they can't ever be any good. They could be like a consistent 8-win team with a guy like Leipold running the show. But Bill, Ohio State's in their conference now. Before, Nebraska was the big bad bully in the conference, and only a team like Texas or maybe Oklahoma could play the same hand of cards as them. Penn State's in the conference. Michigan State's given Mel Tucker $93 zillion to be their coach, and they'll pay whatever they need to go get talent. You have a whole different group of people you're playing with. What Nebraska needs to get back to doing is they need to get back to competing on the level where they can at least handle an Iowa, handle a Wisconsin, handle those kind of programs. But especially now, you got the Southern California schools coming in there. UCLA's an underachiever forever, but the Trojans certainly aren't going to stay an underachiever forever. They'll spend money sooner or later and get the right guy if it doesn't turn out to be Riley. I mean, you're going to be looking at a situation where the best case scenario is your mid-tier in your conference. Best case. There's not a coach and there's not an NIL program that's going to make up for that gap that you've got between you and these programs that are from states that actually have talent.
I think the one thing I'll say about Nebraska, and I'm not saying he wasn't a Looney Tune, but Bo Pelini at Nebraska never won. He never won less than 9 games. I think he did show you that you could win there, that you can have it, kind of what you just said about winning 8 games a season. Pelini at Nebraska was he was a Looney Tune, for lack of a better term, but he was 67-27. He did have a 39-17 record in the Big Ten, and I think showed that maybe you can do something successful there. Obviously, people are going to remember him and his antics after South Carolina beat them in the Capital One Bowl, where he basically said that they were still the better team that day, despite being beaten up around the field, and that it was a lucky day for Steve Spurrier and the Gamecocks. But we'll see where that program goes, what happens with them. Heath, I appreciate you joining us this morning. I look forward to doing this on a weekly basis. Again, most of the time it'll be on Wednesdays, but certainly a lot of fun this morning catching up with you and debating a little college football. That's why I want to have you on, not just to interview you, but to go back and forth a few times, throw a few punches, and just as long as I don't run into you in the hallway when I leave.
Because that's to bring it full circle. I'm so intimidating. All right, man. We'll catch you next week.
Sounds good. Heath Klein. Make sure you catch him today, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. And a reminder, you can see him on Thursday at Columbia Craft on Green Street. Columbia Craft can be your game day headquarters. Columbia Craft proudly distributed throughout the Midlands by KW Beverage. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game's 15th Anniversary Rewind.
2008.
Bernie Madoff was arrested and charged with securities fraud in what would eventually become the worst Ponzi scheme in history. No Country for Old Men won Best Picture at the Academy Awards.
Where does it work? Sir, I am at liberty to give out no information about our residents.
Where does it work?
Did you not hear me?
The New York Giants upset the undefeated New England Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
At South Carolina, the football team under Steve Spurrier went 7-6 and lost to Iowa in the Outback Bowl.
What a big-time return by Captain Munnerlyn that goes 84 yards.
The basketball team was 14-18 in Dave Odom's last season, and the baseball team under Ray Tanner advanced to the regionals in Raleigh.
Our 15th anniversary celebration on 107.5 The Game is sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, getting you better sooner.
93 degrees today. Okay. It's going to get warmer. 94 tomorrow, 98 on Thursday. You get the point. That air conditioner better have been working. It better be working because apparently it's about to be midsummer here again. And then for some odd reason, it drops back to 80 on Friday because welcome to Columbia, South Carolina. This is the weather we get. And when you live here, your air conditioning system and your heating system during the winter better work well. If it's on the fritz, if it's having some issues and it may be about to go out, then now is a golden opportunity to take advantage of what AAA Heating and Air is doing. You can call them 803-677-1500. And the absolute best part, they guarantee financing. So if you're ready for a new heating and air unit, there's not going to be a better time to give them a phone call and to purchase that brand new unit because due to upcoming government regulations, current HVAC inventory cannot be sold after December 31st. And you'll expect to pay an average of more than 30% for a new Tier 2 HVAC system. So that means you need to take advantage of this over the next 3 months. Don't wait any longer. Call AAA Heating and Air today. 803-677-1500. Again, guaranteed financing, a 15-year parts and labor warranty. AAA Heating and Air is going to make sure you get new comfort in your home as quickly as tomorrow. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
We have a report that 2 lanes are blocked, I-26 eastbound at St. Andrews Road. So definitely slowdowns in that area. Beechwoods Drive near Highway 378, a report of an accident. I-20 eastbound at Highway 1, a tie-up there. I-20 westbound at 2 Notch Road, you find an accident. 2 others to let you know about. 277 southbound at the Hardin Street extension and St. Andrews Road at I-26, a report of an object on the highway. 93 for the high today, 94 tomorrow, and could start getting into record-breaking temperatures by Friday, looking for a high of 97. Right now, though, we're sitting at 68 at 107.5 The Game.
I'm here with Jacob Crowder, known to our listeners as the mortgage guru. We're all hearing about mortgage rates right now. Jacob, what's the market telling you?
Now more than ever, it's important to know your mortgage banker. When working in a volatile market, it's important to be well-informed and have the ability to move quickly. Working with a local bank gives you access to bank products and superior service.
Y'all have done a good job on the live stream today. That is why it's there, even if you don't always agree with each other. And Jen's done a good job of keeping the porn bots out of there the last several weeks. So very good live stream today.
News. Things are going better technically, so like I'm not angrily tossing things, and
it's gone well this morning. Yeah,
I do get a little more violent in here than I should
on occasion, but you're done. We've successful morning.
Oh, yeah. That's done. Do a quick test.
Well, the locust has worked its way up the thing.
Yeah, whatever that thing is, Because I looked up a locust. I don't know that that's necessarily what it is.
I think it's a grasshopper because of those back legs.
Yeah, but the wings are what are weird.
Doesn't it?
I didn't think so.
Yeah, I'm going grasshopper. Upon looking at it. Yeah, you'd have to go back. I showed it. I think it made it on the live stream. Yeah, I think that those look like wings. The wings are a little longer. That's a big one though.
Yeah, and that may be what it is. But he is big. I mean, he's good size. You forget that they have wings, though. All right. Mm-hmm.
8:43 on a Tuesday morning. Want to let you know, I've already told you about Game Time being on location Thursday at Columbia Craft. Want to let you know the halftime show. You can go see Jay, Terry, and Tommy. They'll be at Palmetto Propane, 1456 North Lake Drive in Lexington this coming Friday, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. You can go out, get a chance to win football tickets. There will be a Traeger wood pellet grill demonstration, $8 tank refills, free food, plus you can register to win a Traeger grill. So go by Palmetto Propane. Again, visit with Jay, Terry, and Tommy this coming Friday from 12 to 3 p.m. It's at 1456 North Lake Drive in Lexington, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Go by and visit them and hang out. Big thank you to JC Shurburtt for joining us this morning. Big thank you to Heath Klein, who will be joining us usually again on Wednesday. But the reason we moved him to Tuesday this week, again, tomorrow, Cedric Cornbread Maxwell will be in studio with me from 8 to 9 a.m. Cedric, of course, a big integral member of the Boston Celtics back in the early 80s, is now the actual color commentator. He won 2 championships there in Boston with the Celtics. He is in town for a book signing. If you want to attend that tomorrow, all proceeds are going to the Oliver Gospel Mission. Cedric and I had a chance to catch up yesterday on the phone for a few minutes. Great guy. Look forward to catching up and hearing some of the stories that he had from his time. We're not really going to talk a whole lot about the current status of the NBA, but I'm interested in hearing some of the stories from him. And then you can go visit and greet and meet him at LJ's Par and Grill tomorrow, 2:30 to 7. That's at 381 Pilgrim Church Road in Lexington. He'll have a book signing, and again, all proceeds will be donated to the Oliver Gospel Mission to help feed and clothe the homeless in our city. So looking forward to having former Boston Celtic great and finals MVP Cedric Maxwell. He wrote a book called If These Walls Could Talk, discussing his time with the Celtics and some of the things that took place. Look forward to hearing some stories about Larry Bird and so forth and so on. So that should be a fun hour tomorrow from 8 to 9 a.m. We do expect Tony Annan in as well tomorrow morning from 7 to 8 a.m. So we'll have another busy program. Shane Beamer audio will play a lot of that tomorrow as he will meet with the media today at 1:30. You can hear that right here on 107.5 The Game, and it's his weekly press conference that he'll have. And, of course, you'll have to answer some questions about that offense that everybody has been discussing and what he expects from his offense moving forward and how they need to improve. The injury report also be something that we'll listen very closely to see if there's anybody he labels as definitely out for this coming weekend's game against Charlotte. Certainly the Gamecocks want to get the majority of their guys back. Cam Smith, RJ Roderick, maybe. We'll see what the status of Corey Rucker is. I think that's an interesting one just to see if you've got another wide receiver there. Although, to be completely honest, if you can't draw up better plays and give Spencer Rattler a little bit of time, I'm not sure throwing another receiver out there will really help the offense. 803-404-6100, how you can be a part of the program this morning. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The Extra Point with Pearson, Preston,
and the guys from Gamecock Central.
If it's working, then the coaches and then the players, yeah, this is great. Let's do it. But when it's not working, then, I mean, if I was Juice Wells, I'll probably be flipping tables over on the sideline. What happened? Where was I?
Yeah.
Why wasn't I a focal point of this particular?
We didn't get to the clip last week. Marcus Satterfield said he was saying this as a compliment to Juice for just succeeding within the framework of the offense. He said, "You can look in our playbook. There's not one play drawn up for Juice Wells." It's like
that's a little bit the opposite. I agree with your point. You need to make sure you're getting Wells the ball, but like I see what Wes is saying in terms of if getting your guys easy looks is not saying we don't think you can get open.
Get the point? The Extra Point.
Keeping a clean home, that's pretty important, especially this time of year as the kids are back at school and they're out there playing and they come in, their shoes are all muddy or dirty and they're tracking all that stuff back into your home, and you want to make sure that your home looks good, looks clean, so that if people stop by to watch the big game this weekend, they'll praise you for it. Now, I have a secret. I use Zero Res. I encourage you to use them as well. With over 1,800 Google reviews and a 4.9 star rating, Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning is the most highly reviewed cleaning company in the Midlands. And they do it all with their patented ZR water technology. Doesn't leave any soapy residue, and they make sure that it keeps your carpets, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery all looking insanely clean. And the great news for you, they've got a fall sale going on. You can take advantage of it right now. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119 when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game. You can schedule online with ease, ZeroResColumbia.com, or again, you give them a phone call, 803-262-4020. Right now, 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. All you got to do is remember me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and boom, you get that little great fall sale deal. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $119. So don't wait any longer. Call Zero Res today, 803-262-4020, or book online with ease, ZeroResColumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center.
Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. ShepherdsGlass.com.
I-26 eastbound at St. Andrews Road, the right lane is currently blocked as they work to clear that accident. Also, you'll find a tie-up Corley Mill Road at River Club Road. I-20 eastbound at Highway 1, an accident there. I-20 westbound at Two Notch Road. 277 southbound at Hardin Street Extension, still working that earlier tie-up. And St. Andrews Road at I-26, a report of an object on the highway. 93, sunny and hot today. 94 tomorrow, 97 on Thursday, but it gets cooler by Friday. We'll drop down to about 80. Right now, though, it is 70 at 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Discover. We could talk about how complicated other banks make it to redeem credit card rewards. Or we could talk about how with Discover, you can redeem your rewards for cash in any amount at any time. Talk about amazing. Learn more at discover.com/redeem rewards. Terms apply.
If you have an IRS problem, getting accurate legal advice could help get all this behind you right now. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. To get the best results for our clients, we stay on top of the law and the IRS rules and regulations. It's important to us to get you back on track and in compliance legally without worry for your future. At the Ecton Law Firm, we've handled hundreds of cases for everyday hardworking people like you right here in the Carolinas. Don't face the IRS alone. Know your legal rights. Call me to set up your appointment. The first visit is completely free and confidential. You'll meet with a licensed attorney in person.
Chat room in the live stream has been used in the way that it is supposed to be used. I'm very proud of everybody. And nobody has made fun of me on the live stream. Just Jen doing it over air. Yeah, Troy, I actually didn't put 2 and 2 together on that until yesterday when we were talking. Oh. Oh. We have survived another radio show. Good job. And while you can't see me, I am stretching right now too. Oh.
Broadcasting live from the Herm Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 15. Stop by. Shop online today and see what Herm Chevrolet makes you smile.
If you're worried about Charlotte, if that's what you're worried about today, I think you might want to. You got to get a hobby. Get a hobby.
All right, let's see here. A lot to do here in the final 3.5 minutes. Let's remind you, Heath Klein will be on location Thursday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Columbia Craft on Green Street. Columbia Craft can be your game day headquarters. Columbia Craft proudly distributed throughout the Midlands by KW Beverage. Also, on Friday, you can go visit Jay, Terry, and Tommy. They'll be broadcasting live from Palmetto Propane, 1456 North Lake Drive in Lexington, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. You can go out, get your chance to win some football tickets. There will be a Traeger wood pellet grill demonstration. I might go over there for that. $8 tank refills, free food, plus you can register to win a Traeger grill. And also, we want to let you know that tomorrow we will give you a chance to win more tickets, a pair of tickets to Saturday night's game between South Carolina and Charlotte from Carolina Honda Powerhouse. Carolina Honda Powerhouse, your source for Honda Power Sports. You can visit them on the web, carolinahonda.com. Jen, yesterday we made a mistake. I say we made a mistake. We forgot somebody's birthday.
Oh, I actually wished him a happy birthday on Twitter during the show.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday, and I meant to wish Reggie Anderson a happy birthday. Reggie's older now, so he's in getting up there in age. So honestly, if you see Reggie today out and about around town, wish him happy birthday.
Mm-hmm.
He'll probably be confused because that's what happens at his age. He gets confused easy. He's already texted me during the show, and he gets very confused. So he'll probably just think that his birthday now lasts 48 hours instead of 24. He will probably.
Well, and I think it's well deserved. And he and I had a great conversation on Saturday before the game, and we were probably, as we discussed, we were probably the only two in the press box who were talking NASCAR, but that's okay. But he's a hardworking guy, so celebrating his birthday for 2 days, I think that's okay.
I don't know what you either did to Reggie in the past, or I don't know what pictures Reggie has of you, or why you're so nice to him.
Because he's nice to me.
You seem to go out of your way to praise Reggie, and I don't know if he deserves that or not. But
I think so.
We do wish him, because he is part of our picks contest. Carrie Tharp will be in. How did we do this past weekend? Do you have that in front of you? Am I throwing that at you?
Yeah, I don't have that in front of me.
Okay, yeah,
I'll
we'll
do
update that. I
think,
any
I
idea?
can't remember who did the best.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
We'll get that.
I got you. Yeah, we'll get into that with Kerry Tharp on Thursday.
I did poorly because Kyle Busch, 2 out of 3 races, he's had engine failures.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, I don't think he made it to the next round either. I believe I saw him knocked out. But we'll have Kerry Tharp join us on Thursday. We'll talk a little NASCAR. Tomorrow, Tony Annan will be in to talk a little soccer. We'll catch up with him.
Can you talk a lot of soccer or just a little?
A little bit of soccer. About an hour's worth of soccer. They have a match tonight against Queen's University. So we'll get an update on that. And then Cedric Cornbread Maxwell in studio tomorrow morning as well. We'll talk some NBA with him, or we'll get some NBA stories from the 80s. We'll talk about his book, If These Walls Could Talk, detailing his history, his time with the Boston Celtics. So it should be a lot of fun tomorrow. Appreciate each and every one of you for weighing in. The live stream has been quite active this morning. It's been a lot of fun. We'll do it all again tomorrow. It's been the early game on 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
All right.
I know. You love a good smart aleck, don't you?
Going to play golf. Because I have a hobby. I don't worry about what's going to happen on Saturday. Don't let it freak me out. Go play golf and enjoy the weather. Y'all have a great day. Y'all done a great job in the chat room. Appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Give him a wave, Jen.
Oh.
There you go. All right.